The twisted tree trunks were like the fingers of an old witch, covered in black mold and rotting moss, under an unnaturally dark sky. A place crawling with grotesque and ugly monsters beyond reality. Despite having a sword lodged in its back, it pinned the hunter to the ground, its mouth full of sharp teeth and a long tongue hanging out. Its drool dripped down, and the hunter gritted his teeth, looking up. The monster's wide mouth aimed straight at him. In this hellish place, if the hunter dies here, he will wake up. He touched his neck, feeling pain as real as death. 12 years have passed, and Wu Jin has gone through this wretched dream many times. He sketched the monster on paper and noted its detailed features, named Jinrichi, with poor eyesight but incredibly sensitive smell and touch. Very cunning. Don't just kill it, remove each of its eyes. After documenting everything, Wu Jin stood up. He could endure the pain of dying, but what hurt him more was the lack of sleep. Wu Jin was utterly exhausted. If he sleeps in reality, he will wake up in the nightmare world, attacked by monsters until death. And when he dies in the nightmare world, he wakes back in reality. There was no way for Wu Jin to enjoy a full night's sleep. Each time, he could only curse, his eyes shadowed with exhaustion. To stop dying in the hellish dream, Wu Jin did everything he could over 12 years, preparing weapons, learning martial arts and swordsmanship, surviving in the wilderness, and even applying military strategies. Thanks to this, he began to die less frequently in the dreams. Still, each time he woke up, Wu Jin clutched his head, annoyed by the fatigue. The real problem was sleep itself. Wu Jin tried seeing a therapist and was advised to find something he truly wanted to do so he could finally have a peaceful sleep. Now, he pondered, asking himself what he really wanted to do. The only thing he ever longed for was to fall asleep. Wu Jin genuinely just wanted to sleep deeply, even just once. Blood suddenly flowed from his nose and didn't stop. His haggard face and shadowed eyes looked dazedly at the bright red blood in his hands. His dull pupils slowly rolled back. Wu Jin collapsed, face down on the ground, as blood spread across the floor. He lay there with vacant eyes, feeling strangely as his head felt light, and the cursed headache finally disappeared. Wu Jin slowly opened his eyes, fresh air filling his lungs, his mind clearer than it had been in 12 years. Had he really died? Wu Jin dimly recognized this place. The overcast sky seemed so familiar. He woke up under an ancient tree. In shock, he realized this was the nightmare world that haunted him for 12 years. Sounds from behind made his sharp senses kick in immediately. A large monster with a long tongue, the one he carefully pulled his hood over, trying to stay quiet to avoid drawing its attention. It belonged to the lizard type, with many eyes and a highly sensitive long tongue. Wu Jin held his breath, thinking back and recalling his previous situation. He guessed that losing so much blood might have really killed him. In other words, if Wu Jin dies here now, there would be no reality to return to. Wu Jin stood there and realized that from now on, this was his reality. Thinking this, Wu Jin's face became tense and serious. He knew exactly what kind of place this was and what he had to do to survive. His eyes focused intently. In this situation, Wu Jin couldn't fight immediately. First, he needed to find light as these monsters hated it. His senses, honed over 12 years, made him realize something was off. Wu Jin paused, drew the sword at his side, and wondered what this feeling was. At that moment, he didn't want to run. Wu Jin jumped out of hiding. The monster heard the sound and turned around. Gripping his weapon tightly, Wu Jin wondered if it was because he finally got real sleep or because his body was younger than in reality. The monster turned back and charged straight at Wu Jin. It roared thunderously, its eyes glowing, revealing sharp teeth in its wide-open mouth. Wu Jin gripped his blade tightly, his muscles screaming. A deadly gleam flashed in Wu Jin's eyes as he reminded himself to fight and survive. A sharp cut appeared between the monster's jaws. He had darted past, slashing its body into pieces. Wu Jin tilted his head to look at the blood trail behind him. The monster's body parts fell heavily to the ground. Wu Jin stood there with poise after defeating it. He used his weapon to deeply stab into the monster's body. As he gently peeled away the flesh, something glowing appeared inside. Wu Jin looked at the monster's core in his hand. He slowly raised it to his eye level. Without hesitation, Wu Jin ate it. In the desolate forest, he stood alone, feeling somewhat isolated. Wu Jin told himself that in this dark fantasy world, he would survive at any cost. Wu Jin then sheathed his sword, walked away, and left the forest. But first, he had to head towards the light. The next morning, Wu Jin was sleeping on a high tree branch. His eyes were closed, but they twitched slightly from the light. A comfortable smile formed at the corner of his mouth. Wu Jin woke up, having had another perfect night's sleep. A month had passed since he arrived in this world, and Wu Jin kept moving from the depths of darkness toward the light. Even though he felt like fighting, it didn't mean he would go hunting right away. Wu Jin knew that risking his life for fun was crazy. He observed his target, feeling the urge to engage in battle, though only when he needed food. Hunger made his stomach growl, and Wu Jin's lips moved slightly. In an instant, he jumped out and swiftly sliced off the monster's head with his sword. What Wu Jin aimed for was something that could give him new strength. Wu Jin ate what was inside the monster's body. Eating it would give him a chance to gain the monster's power. Sitting there, Wu Jin realized that eating these things made adapting to this place much easier. He reached into his pocket, remembering another truth he had discovered. He found he could now read the writing here, holding a badge in his hand. The badge said its owner was a third-class mercenary. Wu Jin realized that an item like this meant someone was living somewhere in this world. This proved he had his own light now. Glancing around, Wu Jin noticed something beside him. Startled, he saw a metal contraption full of jagged teeth. It was a hunting trap. A large trap, capable of restraining and injuring a big monster. Wu Jin was momentarily shocked, realizing this meant someone might be nearby. He thought about it and quickly rushed forward. Wu Jin headed toward the source of light ahead of him. He stopped, seeing a wooden cabin in the forest. He was surprised, wondering if this was actually a house. Wu Jin approached, knocked lightly on the door, then opened it and looked inside, asking if anyone was there, suspecting the place might be empty. Wu Jin saw an old book laid on the table. He stepped forward, pulled it closer, and read the title. Picking up the book, Wu Jin realized it was the Chronicle of the Demon Realm. His eyes moved slightly as he began to read the information slowly. The history of this place and the terms used were recorded quite meticulously. For Wu Jin, this book was absolutely essential to survive in this world. Just then, someone entered the door. The man held a crossbow, aimed straight at Wu Jin, asking who he was. He frowned, seriously demanding Wu Jin answer clearly, or he'd put a hole in his head. Wu Jin realized the man was also human, feeling lucky to see a person, but it seemed the man mistook him for a thief. Wu Jin explained immediately, hoping there was no misunderstanding, saying he entered the lonely house in this remote area out of curiosity, with no ill intent. The man told Wu Jin to leave because he had nothing to do with his problems. Wu Jin looked at the book on the table and said he'd understood. He placed his hand on the book, hesitating, wanting to ask something. Wu Jin picked up the book and asked if he could borrow it, saying he'd be willing to pay if necessary. The man remained firm and asked what if he refused. Wu Jin thought to himself that he absolutely needed this book to survive here. Then he reached for his weapon, ready to draw it. Wu Jin looked at him seriously and said that in that case, he could become a thief. Silence filled the space following Wu Jin's declaration, with the man still aiming his arrow at him. The man's eyes focused intensely on the young man before him. A slight movement could release the arrow. Wu Jin's eyes also had a murderous intent. He didn't know how strong the old man was, but he felt he wouldn't lose. The man paused and let out a breath. He realized that indeed, a thief wouldn't talk about wanting to read books like that. Then he greeted Wu Jin warmly, introducing himself as Hector. Wu Jin noticed the man had lowered his guard. In response, he also introduced himself as Kim Wu Jin. Hector rubbed his chin and found Wu Jin's name quite unusual. Wu Jin told him to just call him Jin for short, as his name seemed a bit hard to pronounce in this world. Hector held the book and said he understood what Wu Jin meant. But the book was precious to him, so he couldn't lend it. If Wu Jin wanted to read it, he'd have to stay there temporarily. In exchange, Hector had a request for Wu Jin, hoping he could help with some simple house chores, and Wu Jin readily thanked him. As a result, Wu Jin stayed at Hector's house. That night, a delicious stew was cooked in the wooden house. Though Hector was grumpy, he didn't seem to be a bad person, continuously urging Wu Jin to eat during dinner. Wu Jin looked at the food before him and wondered how long it had been since he last had a bowl of hot stew. He ate it heartily, with tears of happiness flowing unconsciously, feeling it was wonderful and thinking Hector might just be an angel. Hector went out hunting at sunrise, and seeing this, Wu Jin asked if he was going out today. Hector replied, saying today might be long. He said it was to avenge the monster that had killed his comrades. Wu Jin quietly observed and concluded that Hector seemed quite strong, which made him feel a bit tense. Wu Jin guessed that it must be a formidable monster. While alone, he read the chronicles. All the stories began with the Northern Empire. The king of the Northern Empire, blinded by greed, laid his hands on the gate to another world, said to contain the truth of all creation and boundless power. And on that day, disaster struck as he opened the gate. Fierce monsters emerged from the foreign gate, turning the North into a demon territory in just 9 years. In response, humanity gathered factions to form the Order Alliance, which built barriers to stop the expansion of the demon area. Having read this far, Wu Jin closed the book on the table. He rested his chin in thought, as expected. There were many useful pieces of information. People said the deeper into the demon world, the stronger the monsters became, questioning whether they weakened as they moved towards the light, yet he wasn't sure if it's true. Meanwhile, Hector was running quickly toward the wooden house. Wu Jin hadn't noticed this, as he wondered how deep he had wandered into the demon world and how strong he had become here. Contrary to his calmness, Hector's face was twisted and terrified, glancing back over his shoulder. He was being chased by a horde of monsters right to this place, and leading them was a giant werewolf with deadly red eyes. Hector ran back to the wooden cabin at full speed without daring to look back. The werewolves snarled, baring their sharp fangs as they lunged forward. Suddenly, Hector turned around 180 degrees. He shot many arrows toward the monsters. They used their sharp claws to easily break the arrows. Feeling the danger, Hector could only grit his teeth and curse. He turned back to keep running and saw Wu Jin stepping out with a weapon in hand. Wu Jin spun the blade in his hand and approached with a cold, determined look. Hector rushed over, shouting for Wu Jin to run away because it was too dangerous. But he was immediately surprised as Wu Jin rushed toward the danger instead. Hector, horrified, turned to watch the young man. Wu Jin focused intensely, ready to fight the werewolves. He jumped high, gripping the blade tightly to strike down at the monster. The werewolf roared, raising its muscular arm with sharp claws. But Wu Jin's blade easily sliced its arm in two. He slid down, splitting the monster's body into 2 pieces. The other monsters immediately stopped when they saw their comrade defeated. Their leader, the blood wolf, bared its teeth and growled, showing some fear. Hector saw everything, his expression filled with disbelief. He looked at the young man in front of him, who had just taken down the werewolf with 1 strike. The 2 halves of the monster's body lay in a gruesome pool of fresh blood. Wu Jin's voice calling Hector snapped him back to reality. He wanted to ask Hector if that monster was considered strong. Hector looked serious and confirmed if Wu Jin was asking if werewolves were strong. He firmly said they were very strong, unbelievably strong. Wu Jin moved his lips, saying that he understood. He looked at the wolf pack and said he'd get more details after dealing with them. The wolves stepped forward, baring their teeth and growling. With his sword gleaming, Wu Jin thought they didn't seem that strong. There were about 40 of them, enough to be troublesome if he wasn't careful. Instead of fighting them all, Wu Jin decided to cut down the beast he thought was the vice leader to break their will to fight. He glanced to the side. It was the one with a big build, standing right in the front row. Wu Jin raised his sword, exuding killing intent, targeting the first one he needed to kill. It wrinkled its face, staring ahead, its fierce look unchanged. In response were Wu Jin's glowing red eyes, with strength hidden inside. The vice leader suddenly showed fear. It turned away to avoid the gaze, confusing its pack. The vice leader turned its head and ran for its life through the 2 rows of wolves. It growled loudly, seemingly signaling to its subordinates. Their previous fierceness vanished instantly. Wu Jin watched the wolf pack leave with confusion. Hector came over and asked if they ran away, feeling it was strange since wolves were famous for their bravery, yet they fled. Wu Jin rubbed his chin, appreciating the vice leader's ability to assess the situation. Meanwhile, it ran away from the danger at high speed. Later, wolf meat was hung outside after being skinned. Inside, Hector said the wolf pelt on the table was worth at least 40 gold coins, the bounty for the werewolf head Wu Jin just claimed. Wu Jin wondered if that was a lot, and Hector assured him it was significant. Hector said it was enough to live comfortably without working for 6 to 7 years, which shocked Wu Jin. He was surprised that such a weak creature had such a high bounty. Wu Jin smirked, finding it interesting that even a trash monster like a werewolf had a price like that. He already had plans. Whenever he needed money, Wu Jin just needed to find and kill similar creatures to continually make a lot of money. Life here might be easier for him than the past 12 years. A while later, many items were prepared, along with a bag of money placed on the wolf pelt. Hector had prepared dried meat, money, and a map of the frontier area. Seeing this, Wu Jin was surprised and asked what these were for. Hector rolled them up and said to take this and go to the pioneer village, find the place marked on the map, and meet Jacob. He said Jacob would buy the pelt for a fair price, surprising Wu Jin, who asked Hector why he just handed over such valuable things. Hector said Wu Jin killed the werewolf, so he was just paying him as said earlier. Hector also had a deep grudge against werewolves. Hector slowly reached out his hand to Wu Jin. He thanked Wu Jin for helping him get revenge, hoping the two would meet again if fate allowed. They shared a firm handshake. Wu Jin also thanked him for everything. Then, he took his belongings, nodded to Hector, and left the wooden house. Wu Jin walked along the forest trails shown on the map. Meanwhile, on a distant rock ledge, the wolf silently watched his figure from afar. It howled at the sky. After some time, Wu Jin arrived at the gate of the frontier village. He looked inside and wondered if this was the frontier village. Wu Jin handed his card to the guard, silently noting that even though it was a small town, it seemed well stocked. With a valuable item on his back, he easily caught the attention of everyone on the street. They looked at those items with greedy eyes. Wu Jin suspected it was because he was a stranger they had never seen before, making everyone very wary. It's understandable. In a world like this, people are more dangerous than monsters. Then Wu Jin reached the location on the map, entering a tavern where many people were eating and entertaining. Wu Jin quietly moved through the noisy laughter and chatter. He approached the bar, placed his stuff down, and the owner immediately asked if he wanted a beer. Wu Jin flatly said he didn't drink, and more importantly, asked if the owner knew where to find someone named Jacob. The person next to him overheard his question, making Wu Jin turn to look at him. The man peeling fruit with a knife claimed to be Jacob, then asked Wu Jin how he could help. Wu Jin was skeptical because the man's face looked like that of a con artist. But then he replied that he was sent by Hector and conveyed Hector's message, which was that he could sell a werewolf's pelt. Jacob tossed the knife aside, stood up, and exclaimed in shock, "What? A werewolf? Hector killed a werewolf?" It turned out he thought Hector was the one who killed the creature. Wu Jin stayed silent as there was no need to correct him. Seeing the fur and head, Jacob was horrified, saying, "What is this? Is this really a werewolf pelt?" Some people in the tavern noticed them. He mused that old Hector finally did it. Despite his age, Hector was still Hector. Jacob smirked, saying everything was going as expected. His brows furrowed with satisfaction. I knew Hector could do it. Unexpectedly, Wu Jin found himself surrounded by a bunch of tough guys in the tavern. He sternly asked what they were doing. Jacob put on the werewolf pelt and started trying to rob him, ordering, "Get out while I'm still being nice, and I'll spare you." Wu Jin confirmed to himself that this guy was a crook, as the look on his face didn't lie. He sighed and said Hector sent him here because he trusted him. Does he always do business this way? Jacob growled, "Watch your mouth. I'm just trying to recover my investment. Hector is too far away, so supplying him only causes me losses. He declared, I need this pelt to make up for all the losses accumulated over time. Hearing this, Wu Jin's face darkened, and he wondered if he should kill him. Then he decided he shouldn't. Wu Jin was very upset, but reminded himself he couldn't kill someone over a cheap pelt. Wu Jin cursed him internally as a vile scoundrel. Be grateful that he's a good person. But suddenly, he was splashed with a mug of beer. Jacob cursed him. Kid, don't try to act clever. Just get lost. Wu Jin was lost in thought for a moment. Then he stood up coldly, knocking over the chair he was sitting on. Jacob threw the mug to the ground, letting it roll. Meanwhile, Wu Jin quietly walked toward the exit. Jacob smirked, satisfied. Smart choice. Suddenly, a sound outside caught his attention. Wu Jin was moving a large table to block the exit. He stood there, not turning his head yet, and called Jacob's name. Wu Jin smiled mysteriously, with sharp eyes, and reminded him that if you're going to deceive someone, aim for the neck, not the back. Jacob still kept an arrogant attitude, saying, I take back my earlier compliment about you being smart. He harshly said that Wu Jin didn't know how to value his own life, and his subordinates rushed forward fiercely. One of them charged, swinging a sword and shouting, Die! Wu Jin drew his sword, thinking that people like them, even if he killed them all, wouldn't make him feel guilty at all. One of the henchmen looked terrified as his weapon was knocked out of his hand. That was just a simple spin and a light swing from Wu Jin. The man's hands trembled, and he muttered, He's so strong. Wu Jin's eyes flashed with anger and killing intent. He dashed forward and easily slashed the stomach of one of them. A bald man raised an axe high, ready to strike. But Wu Jin managed to dodge by leaning to one side, causing the floor to crack where the axe hit. He casually kicked a table toward the bald man. As the large table fell on him, the bald man could only shout, Damn it. Wu Jin unleashed a downward slash that cut through the table and split the man's head in two. Fresh blood splattered on his cold and murderous face. Jacob now shivered in fear, thinking to himself, What the hell is this? Where did this monster come from? Jacob watched his henchmen being quickly slaughtered and thought, a warrior this strong in this area, there's no way I wouldn't know about him. At this rate, I'm going to die a pointless death. Wu Jin continued to swing his sword, slicing another enemy in half. At the same time, he used his combat skills to spin his shoulder, deflecting a sneak attack. Wu Jin plunged a powerful bloody strike into the man's stomach. He then slashed downward, ending the man's life. Wu Jin looked at the pile of corpses in front of him without any emotion. His eyes now glowed a deadly shade of red. Jacob screamed in fear, What's going on? Damn it. Everyone run. People in the tavern scrambled for the windows. Jacob accepted getting injured to break through the glass and jump out. But in front of him, a furry paw appeared. Jacob was terrified when he saw it. He shouted, A werewolf. Why is this monster in the village? Behind him, Wu Jin also jumped out, startling Jacob. Those people were scared, desperately begging, as they were blocked from all sides by a god of death. Wu Jin recognized the werewolf, feeling a bit confused. He remembered how it barked and ran away from Hector's house. Wu Jin asked, Are you that scout wolf? The werewolf just looked at him silently. Wu Jin sharply asked, Are you here because you want to die too? That look in his eyes startled it with fear. The werewolf suddenly lay down on the ground, acting cute. It rolled around in front of Wu Jin, its tail wagging non-stop. This uncontrollable behavior left the spectators baffled. Wu Jin wondered to himself, what kind of behavior is this? Like a stray dog? The goofy expression on the werewolf's face made him doubtful. To test his suspicion, Wu Jin pointed at Jacob's group. He directly ordered the werewolf, Bite them. Its eyes lit up, its expression changed from cute to ferocious, and it charged with sharp fangs. It attacked the group directly as commanded. Pieces of their bodies were torn apart by the werewolf's teeth, staining the area with blood. Seeing this, Wu Jin was pleased and said, Amazing. Witnessing the brutal scene in front of him, Jacob was paralyzed with terror. In front of him, the ferocious wolf was mercilessly killing two of his subordinates. Jacob thought to himself, What should he do now? Right. First, he needed to get out of this situation. He looked at Wu Jin and figured he was an idiot, so maybe a few apologies would make him let it go. Jacob immediately fell to his knees, bowing his head and pleading, "Please, spare me. I'll do anything you ask." But deep down, he was planning revenge once this was over. At that moment, Wu Jin's blade struck the ground, just grazing Jacob's head. Blood dripped down his face and onto the blade as he looked on in fear, while Wu Jin sat coldly before him. Outwardly, Jacob addressed him with respect, calling him sir, but inside he cursed Wu Jin as a bastard. Wu Jin looked at Jacob with disdain, wondering who does he think I am to be treated like this. He remembered a conversation with his manager from his past life, where he had smiled and apologized. This time, "Please understand, you know how the company's doing." That was when he was told the salary hadn't come through, a statement from his factory manager. Back then, Wu Jin had been too weak, accepting the situation, but he realized now he shouldn't have. Once he bowed down, the delayed salary extended from a week to a month, then 2 months. And eventually, when Wu Jin confronted his manager about his current month's salary, he was insulted as a brat. The manager had yelled in his face, saying, "Isn't it during tough times we should all bear the burden together? These kids today are so selfish," labeling Wu Jin as selfish and weak. Returning to reality, Wu Jin pondered, feeling how terrible it was to live dependently day by day. He turned to look elsewhere, knowing that despite everything, he had learned a valuable lesson. Jacob, eyes wide in fear, felt the blood trickling down his face. Suddenly, he smirked with a calculating grin. Jacob quickly drew the knife from his side. He leaped towards Wu Jin, shouting, "Die!" Wu Jin kept his cold, but enough menacing expression, his eyes flashing with deadly intent. Wu Jin calmly raised his hand, grabbing the wrist holding Jacob's weapon. He raised his blade and shouted in Jacob's face, "It's con men like you who show no remorse." Jacob understood his situation but was helpless, only managing to curse, "Damn it." A swift cut was made. Blood sprayed in a line, and Jacob's head was severed from his body. His head hung in the air, his eyes still open, unable to shut. After going through 12 years of experiences, Wu Jin's expression was cold enough, fierce enough, and composed enough to protect himself. Looking at the fallen body before him, Wu Jin told himself, this time, he would never let anyone look down on him again. Then Wu Jin glanced at the remaining target. Now, next was that wild dog, that's what he thought as he wondered what to do. The wolf brought over a bag of gold coins and dropped it in front of Wu Jin, like it decided to follow him for now. Wu Jin saw the bag of gold and hesitated, thinking. He sheathed his blade at his side, his expression distant and contemplative. Looking at the wolf in front of him, Wu Jin asked, "You want to come along?" Before he could react, it nudged its head against his chest affectionately. Feeling no danger, Wu Jin finally reached out to gently stroke its head. His gaze softened as he looked at the wolf, and he gave a slight, gentle smile. Wu Jin thought it was clever. He told the wolf, "From now on, let's travel together, stray dog." The scene shifts to early next morning. Wu Jin woke up as sunlight streamed into the room, with the wolf still keeping guard. Wu Jin felt the space around him, having had a perfect deep sleep. The refreshing morning made him feel like he was in the clouds, both he and the wolf stretching energetically. Wu Jin was now sitting and washing his clothes, the blood from the battle mixing with the water, his body covered with long scars. Even though he felt refreshed, Wu Jin was also feeling tired at this moment. It was the first time he had killed people, not just one or two, but many. Yet Wu Jin was questioning why he didn't feel any guilt. He muttered out loud, maybe because they were trash. But remembering the moment, Wu Jin immediately denied it, saying no, the feeling he had was the same as hunting monsters, a feeling of excitement. He placed his hand on his chest and thought something inside him was definitely starting to change. Wu Jin looked at the palm of his hand and pondered. He was a bit worried, wondering if he might be cursed, but felt it was okay since he was still living well. One thing was certain, his life here would be completely different from before, and Wu Jin vowed not to endure any more injustices, determined to live comfortably. He smiled to himself. thinking he just needed to enjoy the present. The scene moves to the fifth pioneer city, where Wu Jin needed to sell this beast hide first. He turned back and instructed, "Stray dog, stay nearby. Don't show yourself." According to the Chronicle, to receive the monster extermination reward, one must visit the Order Alliance. Wu Jin thought to himself there was a branch of the Order Alliance in this pioneer city, and remembered his new pet, thinking it might be inconvenient to keep calling it stray dog. In a nearby house, by a window, a young man with blonde hair was stretching and yawning loudly. Wu Jin passed by and asked, "Is this the Order Alliance?" The man replied, asking why he was visiting today. Wu Jin dropped the beast hide in front of him, causing Andrew to frown in confusion. Wu Jin said he was there to collect the monster extermination reward. The man examined the item and replied, "This is just a bunch of dog skins. This isn't a place for jokes." Andrew's expression suddenly changed. "Wait, hold on." Seeing the creature's head peeking out, he exclaimed, "This is werewolf skin." Andrew asked, "Did you hunt it yourself?" Wu Jin answered simply, "Yes, I hunted it early in the morning." He was then led to a waiting room. Later, someone entered and said, "Oh dear, sorry for keeping you waiting. We had to verify the skin due to the large sum, so it took a little time." The man dropped a bag of money on the table and continued, "This werewolf skin is authentic. Here's your reward. Please check it." Wu Jin was pleased, thinking that this amount was enough for him to live idly for at least 6 or 7 years. Looking at the pile of gold coins, he thought he wouldn't believe it until seeing it himself, feeling a shake of surprise and joy. Wu Jin was satisfied looking at it. Money was indeed a wonderful thing. Suddenly the man spoke, making Wu Jin pause. "Excuse me for a moment," Brian asked directly. "Are you interested in taking on more tasks? We have a few assignments on our side as well." Wu Jin looked puzzled and asked back, "Tasks?" The man explained awkwardly, "A monster just appeared at the nearby quarry, and it's causing quite a bit of trouble." Brian explained that the mine had become dangerous because of a monster, making it impossible for miners to enter. Without being able to extract bloodstone, money wasn't circulating in the city. The entire city was on the brink of decline, with rumors saying the monster was stronger than a werewolf. He was straightforward, "But I feel like you'll be able to handle it, my friend." Wu Jin asked seriously, "What kind of monster is it?" Brian immediately replied, "Its name is the Frenzied Skull, and it's a monster with a 70 gold coin bounty." Wu Jin realized he had read about the Frenzied Skull in historical records. And more than that, it was an enemy he'd faced before. It had a sturdy skeletal skull and a crazed nature, with resilience and strength beyond human comparison. Wu Jin frowned as he remembered. No wonder they struggled. "It took me a month to defeat it the first time, as I died around 28 times." Brian hesitantly asked again, "Do you think you can subdue it?" He thought for a moment. Then he smiled, confidently asserting, "Of course, the next prey is chosen." The scene shifts to a quarry, a rugged terrain backed by a high mountain. Wu Jin looks around and talks to himself, saying he's heard they couldn't work for a while because of the crazy skull monster. The gloomy atmosphere inside the quarry feels eerie, and Wu Jin thinks he doesn't want to stay long, deciding it's best to finish the job quickly. As Wu Jin walks by, some people in a tent call out to him. One of them steps out and asks, "Sorry, can you wait your turn? We got here first and we're preparing to fight." Wu Jin thinks to himself, "They're asking me to wait just because they arrived first?" Then he coldly replies, "Since when did we line up to hunt monsters?" The man shrugs, looking a bit embarrassed. His name's Jonathan, and he gestures toward his team, inviting, "Or you could join our team and we'll hunt together." Wu Jin looks and thinks now they're recruiting. If I wait for them and their mercenaries succeed, it would waste a lot of time. But I don't want to clash with them if it's just about order. He calculates carefully, thinking that even if he has to share the loot with the mercenaries, teaming up might be better. A member of the group complains, "Boss, if we share more, there won't be much left for us." Wu Jin suddenly remembers Jacob's deceit from before. He reminds himself he can't easily trust these people here. Wu Jin directly asks, "You seem to have enough people. Why drag me in?" Jonathan rubs his head and smiles awkwardly as he answers, "It's embarrassing to say, but I value safety over efficiency." He looks at Wu Jin seriously and continues, I think if you join, you'll be a big help. You're strong, aren't you? Hearing that, Wu Jin thinks to himself, why the sudden respect? These guys really crumble before strong people. He asks back, why do you think I'm strong? Jonathan points to the side, answering, that wolf wouldn't follow you if you weren't strong. Over there, Zik Lang is being petted by a girl. The blonde girl speaks up, given how monster wolves are known for their strong, independent nature. Even the Union hasn't tamed them. It's amazing to see one following a human so obediently. Wu Jin's face darkens, puzzled. I told the wolf to hide. When did it come out? He wonders. He looks at the big piece of meat that Sick Lang is chewing on and immediately realizes, ah, they fed it meat, something I haven't even tasted yet in this world. Sensing the scolding, Shik Lang's eyes look a bit guilty. It drops the half-eaten meat on the ground, saliva still on it. Then, Shik Lang flicks the meat toward Wu Jin. In front of him, the thing looks like it's glowing, and Wu Jin wonders, what does that wolf think of me? In Wu Jin's eyes, the half-eaten, saliva-covered meat now looks like a delicacy. He tightens his lips, swallowing hard. His hand subconsciously reaches for the meat, wondering, why am I acting like this? Come to think of it, when was the last time I had a proper meat meal? Wu Jin's eyes are fixed on it, but he thinks it's the meat the wolf was eating and it fell on the ground too. While he's worrying about his dignity, the girl's small hand reaches out to stop him. She smiles, pulls out another piece of meat neatly wrapped in paper, and asks, if you're hungry, would you like some? Wu Jin is once again dumbstruck, staring at what's in front of him. At that moment, the girl looks like a divine figure he can trust. And more than that, the meat in her hand shines even brighter. Then, they all go into the quarry together, with Wu Jin at the back. He nearly finishes the big piece of meat, commenting, it's so good, the juicy, fragrant meat, combined with a spicy taste like Sichuan cuisine. It can't compare to the monster meat I've had to survive. The blonde girl turns around and says, I guess we haven't introduced ourselves yet. The red-haired guy points to himself and introduces, I'm Jonathan, leader of the Black Marlin mercenary group. The girl continues, and I'm Claire. What about you? He hesitantly replies, I'm Kim Woo Jin. No, just Jin. Jonathan responds, all right, Jin, welcome to the team. If you have any questions, feel free to ask anytime. Jonathan focuses on what's in front. He and his group move inside, saying, we're here. This is where we'll fight the crazy skull monster. Then he starts assigning tasks, instructing the trap team to set up the nets and the spear team to move to their assigned positions, and they all follow the leader obediently. Jonathan turned around and asked, Claire, shall we start now? She replied, yes, let's begin. Suddenly, the color of the space changed and faint feathers floated in front of Wu Jin. Looking at the book glowing in Claire's hands, he wondered, is this magic? A magic circle appeared with each stroke from Claire's hand, just like the magic mentioned in the chronicles. She closed her eyes tightly and began chanting, in the name of Claire, I pray, bless this land. Then, she transmitted that energy to everyone in the mine, a support magic called Feather Step. Jonathan marveled. Claire's buffs are always this amazing, aren't they? He stretched and said, the best is 3 minutes, the worst is 5 minutes. Jonathan stomped the ground and raced forward, gliding past everyone and reminding them, get ready while I lure the mad bull here. Wu Jin chuckled awkwardly, commenting, Jonathan seemed slow at first, but now he's much faster. The magic is pretty cool too. He glanced at Claire and wondered, if I learned it, could I use it? Jack, holding his weapon, loudly reminded everyone, there's no time to stand here dazed. The mad bull will be here soon. Everyone turned toward the dungeon where the traps were set, with reminders ringing out. If even one person makes a mistake, we could all die. Stay focused. Wu Jin evaluated their plan. Lure the monster into a trap, and then unleash firepower on it. Not a bad plan, but with his experience, he wondered, will this strategy work on the mad bull? Inside, Jonathan was using Claire's speed buff, moving swiftly like the wind, with the monster chasing behind. He shouted to signal the team outside. Trap team. Jonathan zoomed out of the dungeon, and the people outside acted immediately. Everyone shouted and tightened the preset trap, yelling, "It's here, the mad bull is coming." Almost instantly, a blade snapped up on it, and the monster roared. Two rows of people pulled with all their strength, shouting in unison, "Net it!" Meanwhile, the mad bull dragged the net and charged forward. Standing right in front of its sharp fangs, Jonathan gave the command, "Spear it." The team members immediately raised their spears. They all simultaneously thrust them toward the monster. Attacked on its flesh, the mad bull roared in pain. As it thrashed around, the trap setters tried hard to hold the ropes tight. But its massive strength pulled back and tossed them aside. Wu Jin, who had been watching, quickly realized the situation was bad. Seeing the giant monster trying to break free from the net, he assessed, "We're overwhelmed." Over there, everyone was still united, cursing, "Damn it, hold on. How can so many of us not tie down one monster?" At that moment, the mad bull's sharp fangs tore through the net. Its eyes were red with rage and hatred. It broke free and immediately charged forward. Its target was Claire, who frowned in worry. Without delay, Wu Jin stepped quickly past her, startling Claire. He used his body and original strength, standing in front of her and blocking the monster. Wu Jin was pushed back by it, his feet skidding and leaving marks on the ground. His hands gripped its two long fangs tightly, his whole body tensing to the point of trembling. Man and beast faced each other with intense tension. Claire behind him saw this and shouted worriedly, "Jin, it's dangerous." He responded coldly, "Don't worry." The pig-headed beast with an exposed skull was staring at Wu Jin with its glowing red eyes, but he smiled confidently because Wu Jin knew how to defeat a crazy skull. Wu Jin still clings tightly to its long tusks. Crazy Skull suddenly jerks upwards to break free. As it lunges, Wu Jin quietly grabs his blade. He raises his weapon, eyes focused, ready to strike, a slash across the neck of Crazy Skull as soon as it shows an opening. Wu Jin worries, thinking he had improved, but this Crazy Skull, its raw power, is truly intimidating. He panics seeing the sharp tusks in front of him, cursing himself for being careless. At that moment, magic power appears, and he sees familiar feathers beside him. Crazy Skull attacks, but misses, because Claire pulled him back with magic and said, "I'm here to help too." Wu Jin thinks, "Is this the magic buff?" His body feels suddenly light, like shedding a 30-kilo backpack. He frowns and thinks, with this help, defeating it will be much easier. Jonathan runs over, worried, asking, "Do you really know how to handle it, Jin? We'll fight with you." Wu Jin shouts back, "No, everyone step back." They stop immediately at his words. With Claire's buff, he charges and says, "Right now." Wu Jin's eyes flash with a deadly red light, confidently declaring, "Handling it alone is easier for me." Wu Jin rushes into the mine because to kill a Crazy Skull, you just need to remember a few weak spots. Despite being called Crazy Skull, it's just a boar that can charge quickly in a straight line. However, changing direction is its weakness. First, I'll exploit that to stop its advance. Crazy Skull keeps smashing its head into the mine walls. It bulldozes everything trying to catch Wu Jin, but with Claire's speed buff, he keeps a safe distance. Until the beast trips. It falls, rocks tumbling onto it. Wu Jin looks down, thinking, "The buff is effective. It's struggling more to chase me. Good, now for step 2. Its tusks, as long as swords, function like human hands. But those sturdy tusks can't be severed by ordinary weapons." Wu Jin decides to strike. If so, I'll target its weakest spot, the nose. Blood spurts out in a large stream. Crazy Skull roars in agony. It thrashes wildly, but the pain intensifies with each movement, making further attack unbearable. Then, Wu Jin grips his blade tightly, deciding to charge. He unleashes sharp slashes at its hind legs. Where the tendons are cut, blood pours out, accompanied by agonized cries. This Crazy Skull won't have any chance to counterattack. Only now does a relieved smile appear on Wu Jin's face. Now Jonathan's group finally reaches inside. They look at the rubble, confused. What happened here? Claire worries. First, we need to find Jin. Suddenly, a wolf glides past them. It stands there, growling, blocking their path. Inside, the sounds of battle kept echoing, making everyone anxious. The red dragon looked in and roared. Claire seemed to understand and said, "Maybe it's signaling us not to interfere." At this moment, Wu Jin appeared in front of the team. They asked him, "Jin, you're still alive and back here. What happened with Crazy Skull?" Wu Jin thought. He couldn't resist the allure of the monster's crystal. He replied to them, "There's no more Crazy Skull here now, because now what's left there is just a pile of pork." Jonathan looked shocked. "I can't believe it. Did you really handle it alone? I've never heard of anyone taking down a Crazy Skull by themselves." The red wolf unexpectedly raised its nose and sniffed. It bared its teeth and growled at what was in front of it. From another mine entrance, another Crazy Skull appeared, and in the darkness, there were still those red eyes. Its face crumpled, snorting several times. Jonathan quickly ordered, "Another Crazy Skull, damn it." So there was another one. Everyone form up formations to fight. Claire frowned, raised her hand to stop him. "Wait a minute, that one." Turns out, it was leading its piglets. The two young ones looked harmless with their naive eyes. The mother looked at them with a worried appearance. Wu Jin also glanced in their direction, deep in thought. In the language of the wild boars, they began to turn away. Everyone stood beside the male's corpse and looked up. They just left like that, perhaps for the safety of the two young ones. Claire said, "It surely intended to raise its young here," Jonathan added. "I feel a bit sad." Wu Jin listened with a calm face. "Anyway, it's good it left peacefully." That night at the 5th Pioneer City, inside the bar, Jonathan spoke to the crowd. "Everyone has worked hard. I'm glad no one was seriously injured. I can hardly express how happy I am that we hunted that Crazy Skull." He excitedly continued, "And now, the most important part of the hunt, the fruits of our labor. It's time to split the rewards." Everyone cheered, with tables being pounded in excitement. Claire looked at the bags of gold on the table and asked, "Wasn't the original reward only 70 gold coins? But this looks like much more than 70. Jonathan replied, "That's because I made a fuss about it. In fact, there wasn't just one Crazy Skull, but two adults plus the piglets, and this job was much more dangerous than the information given, so Jonathan demanded a bigger reward." He laughed loudly. "A total of up to 110 gold coins." The crowd praised. "That's our captain for you." Wu Jin wondered, "But we didn't fight the mother boar, and yet they still gave you that much money?" Jonathan put on a dangerous face and said, "About that, I might have told a harmless little lie." The team members laughed and praised. "That's our captain's style. As long as it doesn't get exposed, it'll become the truth." Wu Jin could only sigh and thought, "These people are really interesting." A hand was placed on his shoulder, and a voice spoke, "Anyway." Jonathan put an arm around him and told everyone, "I'm thinking of giving Jin half of today's earnings. Does anyone here object to that?" He asked, a bit confused. "Really, half of that money?" Jonathan smiled and replied, "Without you, we all might have died pointlessly, so please happily accept this money." Jonathan added, "Thanks to the original reward increase, there's still enough left for us to share, and besides, this is also everyone's wish." The crowd below all smiled and agreed happily. Wu Jin scratched his face awkwardly, thinking about the amulet and that trap. Ultimately, they did help him a lot. He picked up his beer mug, realizing that not everyone here was bad. Wu Jin raised his glass and said, "Thank you. To return the favor, I'll cover all the drinks tonight." Everyone cheered, saying, "That's great. You really know how to spend your money? All right, we'll make sure you spend all the money you earn today." So they partied together, promising to drink until the end of the night. Wu Jin occasionally glanced towards Claire. Seeing her about to leave, he asked, "Claire, where are you going?" She replied, "I'm planning to practice some magic spells." Wu Jin was puzzled. Practicing magic at this hour? Under the night sky, Claire sat there, her body radiating a faint blue mana. She meditated, eyes closed, deeply focused. Leaning against a nearby tree, Wu Jin watched and thought, she must be really tired, just coming back from hunting and jumping straight into training. It's impressive. His mind started thinking about magic. Looking at the girl in front of him, Wu Jin wondered, Maybe I should try learning it too. Claire asked Wu Jin as she carried some supplies, asking if he really wanted to learn magic. She said she could definitely teach him. Wu Jin muttered skeptically, wondering if she was really willing to help so easily. Claire put the box down and explained she intended to give him a gift to thank him. He was surprised and asked what she meant. She sat down and recounted with frustration how, at the time that crazy beast charged, unlike someone else, he saved her life, so she was more than willing to share her magical knowledge with him. She put her hands on her hips and continued, saying if he were a mercenary who didn't know basic combat rules like protecting his mage, she'd outright refuse. But he's an exception, isn't he? Jonathan came over and reminded her not to speak like that. Magic isn't something you can master overnight, and in 2 days, they had to leave the city. Claire pouted and replied that Jin could totally join them on their journey. Jonathan laughed at her naivety, questioning why a talented beast hunter like him would want to hang out with mercenaries like them. He walked over and patted Wu Jin on the shoulder, explaining that mighty wolves usually feel freer when they roam alone. It would be rude to disturb his great journey. Wu Jin thought to himself, not really having any specific plans, and the guy seemed to think he was some kind of extraordinary figure. Maybe I'll try lying a bit, he thought. With that thought, he awkwardly started a conversation. Hey Jonathan, where's your next target? Jonathan answered that they were heading to Pioneer City number 4, where a large-scale mission awaited. Wu Jin pondered. Pioneer City number 4. What a coincidence. He mentioned he was planning to go there himself and asked if they'd mind if he joined their group. While he gathered his belongings, he stammered, saying he also wanted to learn more about magic and other things. The two behind him smirked knowingly, recognizing his poor lying skills. The fish took the bait. Jonathan happily went over and patted him on the shoulder, exclaiming what a great coincidence it was. Claire chimed in, saying they'd be super excited to have such an outstanding teammate. Wu Jin silently thought that his next destination was decided. A group of people walked in a line along the trail. Beside them was a giant beast carrying a whole tent. It was a Tarask, a selectively bred creature used for transportation, one of the few magical beasts successfully tamed by humans. Wu Jin looked in amazement, realizing this was the Tarask he'd read about in records. People seemed to prefer using them for carrying goods instead of horses. Their size was truly massive. Jonathan, leading the way, called back, "All right, let's go. We've still got a long way ahead." At night, they practiced together again. Learning something new was indeed a difficult challenge. Wu Jin tried his best to follow instructions. There were countless reasons why learning was hard, but the biggest barrier was the patience needed for repetition. The two shared and practiced together. In any field, there are aspects where progress only comes from persistent training. Still, progress in this area was often slow. Wu Jin tiredly mumbled that this was so hard and sometimes yielded no clear results. Having to repeat the same thing without seeing progress was very discouraging. He closed his eyes and continued training, yet this painful feeling was all too familiar to him. Wu Jin reflected on how 12 years of enduring hardships to survive had made him stronger. He resolved to endure until he succeeded, understanding deeply that perseverance was key. Just then, a light shot into the sky, leaving him in awe. Claire clapped excitedly as she approached, saying that he was starting to sense mana. Wu Jin asked in surprise if that was mana. He hesitantly muttered, finding it hard to believe it took him a full 10 days just to sense it. This task was truly not simple. Claire sat down and gently spoke to him, admitting his pace was a bit slow, but it was still positive. Some without talent never know the feeling of touching mana in their lifetime. She took out a potion from her bag and announced it was time to move to the second phase. She poured the bright blue liquid into a small bowl. Claire put on gloves and asked Wu Jin to take off his shirt a bit. Wu Jin looked at her with disbelief. The wind in the forest blew loudly, creating rustling sounds in the night. Claire dipped her gloves into the bowl, pausing slightly before Wu Jin. Wu Jin couldn't help but ask what she was planning to do. Claire drew a sigil on his back and explained that she was setting up a circuit to transfer this mana into his body. After a while, the sigil was complete. She said it was stable now and instructed him to concentrate on feeling the energy slowly. Wu Jin glanced back and responded that he understood. Claire started using the sigil on his back to cast the spell. Wu Jin immediately felt pain throughout his body, and his eyes widened in agony. Wu Jin tried to bear it, knowing this feeling was completely different from anything he had experienced before. He calmly focused, feeling something thicker than blood flowing throughout his body. Claire gently asked if he could sense the mana flow. Wu Jin slowly replied, yes, he could feel something flowing inside him. She closed her eyes and explained, you've just taken the first steps in using magic. Basic magic consists of 3 main levels. First is sensing, next is infusing mana into the body, and finally utilizing magic. Claire cheerfully announced that since he successfully completed the initial step, they would move on to the second level. She gently instructed him, I'll guide this energy flow straight to your heart, Jin. Try to create a space to store the mana, like holding your breath. Wu Jin thought to himself, gathering mana inside my body. Claire shouted, all right, let's begin. A massive amount of mana started flowing into his body. In Claire's mind appeared the image of a mantis reaching for a vicious insect. The mantis began tearing its prey apart fiercely. In no time, the unfortunate insect was gone. The mantis wiped its mouth and turned to look straight at her. It then widened its eyes and looked at her menacingly. Claire woke up startled, wondering what terrifying energy this was. A wave of mana wrapped around her. It grew stronger, beyond her control. Claire was so panicked that she teared up, realizing all her mana was being drained by him. At this rate, her mana would be depleted from being absorbed. Just then, a tail wrapped around Claire. It quickly pulled her back, creating distance from the source of mana emanating from him. Claire looked at it in surprise. The Crimson Wolf. The Crimson Wolf also turned and stared at her as if trying to communicate. Claire wondered inwardly if it realized she was in danger and came to rescue her. Wu Jin saw her collapse and stood up in fear, calling her name. He approached and asked if she was all right. Claire stared at him, recalling that what she just witnessed was the world inside his mind. She pondered deeply, realizing it was a place where one's power and true self were manifested, appearing as a unique world of their own. Claire shuddered at remembering those fierce eyes, understanding that each person's life shapes a unique mental world. She looked at his calm face in astonishment, unable to believe such a terrifying presence existed in Jin's mind. Claire hesitated as she got up, speaking timidly. Jin, please be honest with me about this. She looked at him, having difficulty asking, have you ever consumed a mana core? Wu Jin was surprised. Mana core? Claire explained that she meant the crystals often found near monster corpses. Wu Jin recognized what she meant. Oh, you're talking about monster crystals. Yes, I've eaten them. Claire gripped his shoulders and shouted, you really ate mana cores? When did you start eating them, and how many have you consumed? Wu Jin calmly replied, making her face go pale. Ever since I started hunting monsters, I've eaten them. I guess it's been about 10 years. If I count, it's probably in the thousands, no, maybe even tens of thousands. At this point, he awkwardly asked, but why? Is there a problem with eating them? Claire emphasized loudly that it was extremely critical. She explained with difficulty, if a normal human eats a mana core. Claire looked him straight in the eyes and answered, they'd either die or become a monster. Wu Jin, hearing her words, was struck with wide-eyed shock, as if hit by lightning. Karma. That's the name for the tainted energy found in the demon world. Any creature that absorbs this energy gains extraordinary powers. As for the mana core, it's a crystal formed from karma accumulated over time in the body. The next morning, the group continues moving to the next location. Claire nervously glances at him, feeling really concerned. She thinks deeply. Dark monks, ever since the portals to another world opened and karma began consuming our world, there have been those who follow the monsters, absorbing karma and worshipping them like angels. These people are willing to eat even the mana cores, and some even offer their comrades as sacrifices to the monsters. They're truly madmen. She recalls what he said last night, that he started eating them while hunting monsters. Up to now, he's kept it up for 10 years. If asked about the number, it likely reaches thousands. No, tens of thousands. She's troubled with questions. Did he really devour mana cores? Could Jin be a dark monk? Claire's mind is troubled. It can't be. If he were a dark monk, there's no way he'd admit to eating mana cores and expose his mind like that. She watches his actions and thinks, but isn't this even stranger? Even if he doesn't know mana cores are extremely dangerous. At that moment, Wu Jin just defeated a monster in the forest and was happily celebrating by directly chewing and swallowing it. Claire helplessly wonders, why can he still pick up and eat such disgusting things? She crosses her arms and looks at him. This man is really full of mysteries. He just ate it again. Actually, Jin saw the monsters eat manacores and just imitated them. Finally, Claire couldn't hold back anymore and warned Jin, no matter what, from now on, you must absolutely stop eating manacores. You've lived till now purely by luck. You could really lose your life. Wu Jin rubs his chin thoughtfully. She said consuming manacores can lead to death or turn someone into a monster. Yet here I am, a perfect living example. Aren't those facts incorrect? He starts to ponder. If that's true, then the fact that he has no emotions after killing. Wu Jin furrows his eyebrows, realizing that his burning desire for battle, is it all caused by those manacores? He moves forward and briefly answers her. I'll still try it out. Claire angrily shouts, don't underestimate this. You have to stop. You can't do this anymore. She crosses her arms and explains, if you continue absorbing manacores, not only is your life threatened, but you'll also never be able to use magic again. Wu Jin is surprised to hear that. Really? I won't be able to use magic? Claire mutters helplessly. Oh my, is that really more important than your life? She sighs and says reluctantly, but it's not like there's no way, so don't worry too much about it. Claire continues to educate him. There's still something called mana techniques. Mana techniques, Wu Jin mutters. At the fourth pioneer city. In the large square, countless mercenaries are gathered, buzzing with activity. Wu Jin looks around, noting there are many skilled mercenaries. Claire smiles and says, you're amazed too soon. The scale of this request is truly impressive. She adds, even this mission is directly supervised by a holy knight. The person she's talking about is Holy Knight Raymond, who leisurely walks in the square with a very dignified demeanor. Wu Jin turns his head to gaze at him, full of admiration. He thinks to himself, that person's aura is so strong that these mercenaries can't compare. Just one glance and I know he's extraordinary. Wu Jin asks, do people usually gather like this whenever a holy knight carries out a mission? Claire explains beside him, it's because this event is related to the golden bug. Hearing this, Wu Jin gets excited. Golden bug, is that an insect-type monster? She hesitantly responds, don't tell me you don't know anything about the golden bug. Claire looks at his bewildered face and is at a loss, so it turns out you really don't know anything other than hunting. Jonathan chimes in to explain, the golden bug is the greatest lord, a monarch with enormous wealth, considered the richest in this region. He continues somberly, yet he suddenly passed away recently. Wu Jin hesitantly asks, died unexpectedly like that. Was he assassinated? Jonathan responds slowly, there are rumors like that, but nothing has been clarified yet. Wu Jin becomes more curious, asking, but if the golden bug is dead, why are so many people gathered here? He explains to him, the golden bug left behind 2 sons. Jonathan shares from his understanding. They will inherit the legacy of Golden Bug Wolf, so people need to escort their assets into a barrier. That's the content of this request. After hearing this, Wu Jin is pensive, transporting the assets of a wealthy person. No wonder everyone's flocking here like ants. A loud voice called out, inviting the Black Marlin mercenaries to step forward. Jonathan cheerfully nudged Wu Jin forward, saying, finally, it's our turn. This is the key moment. Jin, follow me for a bit. He introduced Wu Jin at the registration desk, saying, this young man is the ace of our mercenary group. He's the one who took down the Mad Skull and tamed the werewolf. Everyone started talking, making Wu Jin nervous. Isn't he the one they call the executioner? He doesn't look that strong to me. Wu Jin mumbled nervously. Executioner? What are you talking about? Jonathan reassured him softly. Ignore it for now and everything will go smoothly. Besides, it's to our benefit, isn't it? Raymond stared at Wu Jin for a long time, like he was sizing him up. Finally, he announced, the Black Marlin mercenaries, you receive 100 gold coins. We'll depart at dawn, so remember that. Jonathan was overjoyed upon hearing this, but Wu Jin questioned, "They're paying 100 gold coins just for transport?" Jonathan winked and explained, "That's how this world works. You get paid half for the effort and half for the reputation. That's how hiring costs are set." Jonathan cheerfully said, "We've secured a good price." Wu Jin, not very interested, asked, "What does that name even mean?" Jonathan rubbed his chin and said, "It's a nickname they gave you. It implies you always smash the heads of every monster you face." Wu Jin sighed. Whoever came up with that name must have too much free time. People around them were envious, saying, 100 gold coins is like winning the lottery. Wu Jin smiled, thinking, this fame can only be a good thing, right? He smirked to himself, it'll help me learn more about mana techniques. At the mercenary group's base, a crowd was gathered, cheering as a fight broke out. Kill him! Don't think you can escape. In the arena, both sides were fighting hard, clashing fiercely. Claire hesitated as she saw Wu Jin preparing, asking, "Are you really okay entering this arena?" Wu Jin casually replied, "You said the Holy Knights use mana techniques too." He reassured her calmly, "I plan to draw their attention to learn that technique. Don't worry, I've got it all planned out." Raymond was also in the stands watching Wu Jin, remembering the chronicles that said Holy Knights are attracted to strength. And once they acknowledge someone's strength, it's rumored that person will receive great favor. Wu Jin thought quietly, "For me, that won't be difficult." He strutted onto the battlefield, thinking, "This is where everyone fights with honor. Here, I'll make the Holy Knights pay attention to me." Wu Jin calmly watched his opponent charge at him. First of all, he quickly dodged to the side to avoid his opponent's decisive punch. Wu Jin calmly counterpunched him. Then, he swiftly used both hands to clasp his opponent's head. Wu Jin forcefully headbutted him without holding back. The onlookers were excited, cheering, "That executioner name isn't just for show. Your next opponent is me, you jerk." Wu Jin noticed Raymond watching him and felt proud. "Great, I've made an impression on him." He continued throwing decisive punches but reminded himself, "I can't be careless now. This is just the beginning." Wu Jin unleashed a barrage of powerful hits, thinking, "To make the Holy Knights take me seriously, I need to defeat more opponents. He need his opponent in the face. If I can take down 2 or 3 more like this." Wu Jin kept fighting and thinking, "He'll start getting curious about someone like me." He stood calmly amid the excited crowd. "But if I defeat a dozen or so?" Wu Jin looked straight into his eyes and thought, "If he's a true knight, he'll definitely think like this." In the stands, Raymond told the person next to him, "Rex, go fight that guy." This was exactly what Wu Jin expected, whereas Rex was very unhappy. "You want me to fight a common mercenary?" Wu Jin told himself, "When that moment comes, the real show will begin." He calmly responded to the challenge, deciding in his mind to decline. This was his way to start negotiating about learning mana techniques. Rex, overhearing the cold response, raised his eyebrows in surprise. The mercenary group's hideout. Claire stood stunned after hearing his answer. Even Jonathan was silent, taken aback. Everyone cheering in the stands was puzzled by his refusal. Rex shouted angrily at him, asking why he didn't like it. Raymond stood beside him, thoughtfully watching him for a long time. Finally, he spoke up, asking if he was injured somewhere. Wu Jin waved his hand, replying confidently, "Not at all." Raymond raised an eyebrow and asked why he refused the duel. Wu Jin pointed and explained, "A holy knight. I'm just a mercenary, and mercenaries only seek money and power. If I have to fight an ordinary squire, I can't just jump into the fight." He smiled and suggested, "So let's make a bet." Raymond deftly asked back, "To bet, both sides must want something from each other. What could we possibly want from you?" Wu Jin kneeled and rummaged through his bag, replying, "Of course, I'm not great enough to enhance the knight's reputation. But talking about money, I have plenty." As soon as he finished speaking, he pulled out a heavy bag of money as proof of his words. Everyone around started mocking. "Look at that madman, daring to suggest a bet with a holy knight, someone who lives and dies by honor. How can he look down on the holy knight like this?" Rex gritted his teeth and cursed, "Bastard." Raymond raised a hand to stop Rex's fury. All right, money isn't important. He frowned and continued. Instead, Raymond calmly proposed. Regarding the injuries both sides may suffer during the match, let's agree up front that no one is responsible for compensation. He said casually, that's what we want. Wu Jin thought to himself, if compensation isn't required, I can fight freely. Thinking this, he quickly smiled and agreed, and as for what I want, I'll say after the duel ends. Both quickly stood facing each other, ready to fight. Rex stared at him intensely, as if wanting to devour him. Wu Jin raised an eyebrow, looking back with determination to defeat. The mercenaries shouted madly, Come on, crush his skull, I've bet my entire fortune on you. Claire stepped forward and told him, If you sense danger, signal me. Wu Jin reassured her, Don't worry. He smiled confidently, I will win. Rex angrily asked Raymond, How much strength should I use? He quickly replied, Use all your strength. Raymond reminded, Give it your all. This opponent is not easy. Rex clenched his fists and answered yes, understood. Those around saw the strength radiating from him and exploded. Is that magic? Come on, win, Holy Knight. Rex stomped on the ground, every inch of his body exuding powerful magic. In just a moment, Rex used his speed to get in front of Wu Jin. He was startled and leaned back. This speed is definitely different from the weak ones. Wu Jin quickly reacted and dodged the powerful punch, which was full of order and intensity. At that moment, he realized the opponent's power. If I'm not careful and get hit, I might die. Wu Jin looked excitedly at him and thought, Magic is really interesting. Wu Jin used his hand to cover his face to avoid taking a lethal blow. Rex madly unleashed magic into his fist to attack him. Wu Jin blocked the blow but still got knocked far away. He covered his mouth with his hand, hearing the opponent ask, You said your name is Jin, right? He frowned and said firmly, Maybe you're a famous mercenary in the area, but in the end, you're just a wild beast. I'll make you regret underestimating a holy knight. The people in the stands were buzzing. What? The Skull Crusher is being overpowered? Even if the other guy is just a trainee, a holy knight is on a completely different level. Am I going to lose all my money? Claire called out softly, Jin. Raymond stood in the stands, arms crossed, carefully watching the battle. At that moment, Rex was still crazily clenching his fists, charging at him like a wild beast. Wu Jin used his hand to barely fend off a critical attack. Raymond thought uneasily, What's this strange feeling? He looked at the figure on the battlefield and analyzed. That guy, when fighting other mercenaries, has never wasted time and always takes down his opponents with one strike. Thinking this, he suddenly became cautious, but now his movements are so passive. Could it be that he's hiding some plan? Rex shouted loudly toward him, Hey, you! He used magic to send a magical punch toward him. Wu Jin bent down and used his bare hands to knock it away. The move quickly flew into the stands, causing everyone to panic. Be careful! Jonathan was stunned and shouted, Did he just deflect the Holy Knight's magic with his bare hands? Is that even possible? Saying that, he suddenly stopped. At that moment, Wu Jin stood on the battlefield, wiped the blood off his face, and said, So that's it. Excited, he said, It seems like I've calculated your combat strength already. Wu Jin tightened his fist, provoking, Now let's see how well you can withstand this. Right after, he rushed forward and punched him in the stomach before the opponent could react. Rex was astonished by the speed of that attack, only able to stand there with eyes wide and mouth open. Raymond paused. Just one punch and Rex has that expression? Could it be that guy? He realized too late. From the start, he hasn't aimed for anything but just enjoyed the fight? Wu Jin looked at his reaction and laughed in surprise. He smiled and teased, I hit pretty hard and yet you're still standing? Is that also because of your magic? Wu Jin looked at his pale face and said loudly, I'm really curious now. He rotated his wrist ominously and said, I wonder how many more hits you can take. Rex gritted his teeth, looking at Raymond approaching. He stood in front to shield him and signaled, Enough, he's lost. Raymond frowned and said, As promised, we'll do whatever you want, so let's end this here. Wu Jin glanced and muttered, It's just getting started. This is a hassle. He bit his lip and thought, well, either way, the plan succeeded. The mercenaries immediately cheered. As expected of the Skull Crusher, I always believed in you, you bastard. At the Wolf Mansion, the sound of continuous chewing came from the garden outside. The eldest son, Derek, along with the second son, Cedric, were crazily devouring a spread of food outside. Cedric asked while eating, so it'll take 10 days for the barrier, right? Derek cursed angrily. Damn it, that trashy cult. With all that money, and they still need 10 days? They cursed while eating, those bastards always bragging, but in the end, they have no real power. He wondered, but can we hold out until then? The other replied, what choice do we have? The two crazily ate. What choice do we have? We just have to pray our bodies hold out until then. Behind the two guys were grotesque water sacks that kept heaving up and down, giving people goosebumps. Right now, Raymond is standing before an ancient tree, deep in contemplation, practicing the art of manipulating mana. He turns, reflecting quietly. This method of using mana as if it's part of one's body aims to enhance muscle strength or weaponry. Anyone with a bit of talent can use it, but it depends on how skilled the user is. With that, he drew his sword and swung it powerfully through the air. They say this basic skill can slice through mountains or seas, a divine technique known as the Holy Flame Cut. With just one swing, all the surrounding ancient trees were chopped down. The sound of the sword striking echoed continuously in the dark forest. After enough practice, Raymond quickly sheathed his sword. Rex ran over from afar, constantly praising him. Truly, Sir Raymond, you're extraordinary. He kept on excitedly. Your aura is so pure. You are the hope of the Holy Knights, sir. How can you be so perfect? Raymond responded calmly. It's your turn now, Rex. Rex joyfully ran over like a puppy. Yes, I'm ready. I'll do my best. Seeing his response, Wu Jin immediately remembered Jik Lang, feeling he had seen that look somewhere before. He looked at the felled trees and mumbled, more importantly, is this the true form of mana magic? It seems much more powerful than what that apprentice showed. He rubbed his chin in thought. But with that level, could the master really cut through it without any techniques? Raymond turned to him and said, I've shown it directly, so focus and observe once more. Wu Jin agreed calmly. Okay? Raymond gently guided him, similar to how your veins rise and your muscles tense whenever you flex your arm. He closed his eyes and felt it with him. You have to hold that mana flow tightly within your muscle groups. Wu Jin tried to follow his instructions. Up to this point, this technique was quite similar to what Claire once taught him. A glow of mana appeared, startling him. What? Wu Jin was amazed, seeing the strong mana flowing. Why is there such a huge amount of mana circulating in my body right now? When did it start accumulating inside me like this? He focused intently, sensing a gentle and calm mana flow. Is this Claire's mana? Wu Jin continued, his eyes closed, concentrating and following the instructions. Raymond softly directed. Now, slowly start spending that mana. Initially, moving your body a bit will help a lot. The mana from him suddenly became intense, causing him to turn his head in surprise. Wu Jin was also amazed, seeing the mana enveloping his sword. Raymond was astonished. Can he use the mana technique right after just learning it? Not only that, but even more incredible is, he was doubtful of this mysterious power. Just what is that ominous aura of mana? Raymond tensely thought. Mana techniques usually manifest color and shape based on the user's inner world. But now, there's a gloomy aura covering his mana. He furrowed his brow and wondered inside. Jin, what exactly is hidden deep within you? At this moment, Wu Jin was extremely excited. Raising his mana-filled sword high, he couldn't help but grip the sword tightly and swing it a couple of times to test. Wu Jin thought internally, is my proficiency level still too low? It feels quite tiring compared to the efforts I've put in. He was pleased looking at the sword in his hand. Yet, it looks pretty cool, right? I really want to test it in a real battle as soon as possible. The group continued to move through the forest. Claire eagerly asked him, have you truly grasped the mana technique? It's certainly not easy, is it? It's amazing, right? Wu Jin appreciatively replied. It's all thanks to you, Claire. He suddenly remembered to ask, more importantly, are you still okay, Claire? Earlier you helped me, so perhaps some of your mana transferred into my body. Hearing this, Claire hesitated for a moment. Finally, she shyly replied, it's nothing. Back then, you were the one who saved my life, Jin, so take it as a small gift from me. Wu Jin looked at her face in contemplation. Even though she says that, I still feel it's a considerable amount of mana, so it can't be just nothing. Thanks to it, I've quickly grasped the mana technique. Just then, someone on horseback approached him. It's unbelievable that you're so happy just learning a few basics. Rex gently reminded him, hey, don't neglect your training, and don't forget to respect and thank the master, because Sir Raymond spent valuable time on someone like you. Wu Jin thought, what's wrong with this guy? Is he still upset about losing yesterday? Thinking that, he smiled, feeling a bit bored. It would be fun to poke at his pride to start a fight. Right after, Wu Jin reached out and slapped the horse ridden by Rex. The horse neighed, causing Rex to lose his balance. Raymond watched as the horse with Rex went wild and said, Jin, please go easy on him. I promise to keep him in check. Wu. Jin hesitated. I thought we were going to fight too bad. From atop the supply beast, a voice shouted, and a bunch of food got thrown around with more yelling. I told you I was hungry. Hurry up with the food. Wu Jin remarked, seems like something's happening over there. Raymond calmly replied, don't worry about it. He explained briefly, that's just the usual arrogance of those in charge. You quickly realize, are those bosses the sons of Golden Bug? Raymond confirmed, exactly. Since Golden Bug Wolf died, they've never stopped feasting like crazy. If their meal is interrupted, they get furious. He advised, thinking about it will just give you a headache, best to ignore them. Wu Jin pondered a moment, then asked, but don't you think binge eating like that is wrong? He suddenly felt uneasy. I have a bad feeling about this. Every time the food starts to run out, my anxiety grows, almost as if. Inside, the two continued eating wildly, their bodies twisting out of shape. Wu Jin thought keenly, like a monster is about to burst out. At that moment, he suddenly opened his eyes wide. The supply beast cried out, the contents on its back scattered, making everyone panic. What? Why did it suddenly get weird? The beast rolled its eyes and collapsed before everyone's eyes. Raymond shouted, what the hell is happening? People explained in a panic. The Tarrasque carrying those guests suddenly went crazy. Raymond was surprised. The sons of Golden Bug, he quickly called, Rex, who immediately ran over. Here I am, sir. Raymond drew his sword and released a certain amount of magic around himself. He charged forward while giving orders. The safety of the guests comes first. We must stop the Tarrasque, even if we have to kill it. Rex rode forward with him, understood. Countless spikes pierced through the tent on the beast's back. Everything on its back quickly turned into ruins, flying everywhere. The head of a monster appeared. Claire realized with open eyes, is that a demon human? Wu Jin was surprised. Demon human, she explained fearfully. Those are humans transformed into beasts by demonic power. That's what we call demon humans. Wu Jin was silent. A human can turn into a monster? At this time, Raymond took a deep breath. Then he gripped his sword tight and charged at the monster without hesitation. Raymond used his holy flame slash to cut the monster in half instantly. The entire body split along his sharp slash. Raymond turned and called out, Rex. Rex responded, gripping his sword and charging toward the monster without hesitation. He gritted his teeth and delivered a powerful slash forward. The monster shattered into 100 pieces on the ground. But then, its body gradually reattached like before. Raymond was stunned. Its body just regenerated. The intact monster appeared right behind him, making Raymond shout in alarm. Rex. A fully intact monster appeared right behind him, causing Raymond to shout in panic, Rex. Rex heard its growl behind him and felt a chill run down his spine. He turned his head to look back but couldn't react in time. A horrible slicing sound echoed as his sword-wielding arm was severed and flew off. Raymond, scared, charges forward with his sword and shouts, Rex. The monster opens its mouth wide, surprising him. and then Rex completely disappears into the air, leaving only his sword-holding hand. Wu Jin stands there, stunned by the scene. The people nearby are just as terrified. Raymond stops, looking up at the hand falling through the air. He grits his teeth in anger, cursing, damn it. Raymond slowly loses his calm, swinging his sword straight at the monster. His sword comes down, splitting the vicious creature once more. It howls in pain, echoing throughout the forest. Raymond quickly rushes toward its mouth and shouts, "Rex!" He grabs the monster's flesh and calls out, "Rex, you have to stay awake. Don't give up. I will definitely get you out of there." While he's distracted, the monster starts to recover, surrounding his body, but he mustn't give up. Wu Jin witnesses this and grits his teeth in frustration. Unable to stand it any longer, he charges toward him. Then, Wu Jin slices through its tendrils with his sword, rescuing Raymond from the beast's grasp. He jumps away, creating distance from the monster. Raymond falls hard onto the ground, blood pouring from his arm. The others around are buzzing. Could even the Holy Knight be defeated? Are we all doomed here? The monster they're facing looks like a pile of meat stitched together, showing no particular shape. The other one isn't much better, growling its big mouth to scare them. Wu Jin thinks darkly, so this is what a human turns into when they become a monster. Disgusting. If I keep absorbing those essences, will I turn into that freak one day? Maybe I rushed too much. The monster opens wide and screams threateningly at him. Wu Jin calmly looks at it and plans. But that's for later. First, I need to defeat this beast. Thinking so, Wu Jin precisely dodges the tentacles aimed at him while charging forward. He decisively slices it in half. Its digestion ability is amazing. Its regeneration speed is almost endless. Wu Jin worries as he watches it continue to recover. If this keeps up, the battle will turn into an endurance contest. He turns and slices again, reminding himself to save energy and find its weakness. The monster screams in pain at him. It angrily charges to counterattack, but he blocks it with a strike. Wu Jin jumps back to create some distance. The battle is getting more intense. His body, having taken some hits, leaves him groaning in pain. At that moment, a spear flies from afar at incredible speed. It's Jonathan who throws the spear at the monster. He smiles reassuringly. "We're always beside you, Jin." Claire quickly opens her magic book, sending blessings to his sword. She murmurs a spell to fight against the power of darkness. Power flows into the spear, pressuring the monster. Everyone cheers. The magic is working. Its regeneration is slowing down. Don't let the severed parts rejoin. Push them away from the main body. We're not just here to watch. Wu Jin silently watches them for a long moment, saying nothing. Finally, he smiled with satisfaction and thought, "Not bad at all. I thought they would just stand there trembling." The monster's flesh started melting like liquid. It frantically tried to rebuild itself, looking at the group with fierce eyes. Wu Jin quickly realized that its energy was changing. The monster, which had just been hit, tried to reattach its head. Suddenly, the shape of the monsters started to change. The group quickly noticed, "What is that? Faces are growing from its shoulders. Aren't those golden bug faces?" The combined monster kept flinging its tentacles everywhere. Those tentacles moved as their master commanded, targeting pieces of flesh scattered around. The group quickly retreated in panic. "Be careful. It's absorbing back its own flesh." The flesh was quickly reabsorbed, covering its slimy body. Wu Jin leaped up to slash at the writhing tentacles. Caught by surprise, the monster tensed, enduring the pain. Wu Jin was relentless, continuously cutting through the monster's flesh with his sword. Its deep-set eyes and gaping mouth howled at him non-stop. The monster extended its long tongue to attack him, but he managed to react in time. Wu Jin was thrown several meters away by its force. Jonathan rushed over, worried. "Jin, are you okay?" Wu Jin shouted back, "I'm fine. Everyone stay on high alert. It's just gotten a lot stronger." Everyone was instantly worried. Could this have to do with those new faces appearing? What's our plan now? Wu Jin calmly strategized. "We'll keep cutting it. If we keep slicing layer by layer, eventually there will only be the core left. The only problem is its regeneration speed is too fast." Jonathan smiled to reassure him. "Don't worry, it may have gotten stronger, But we figured out its pattern. Wu Jin smirked when he heard that. If you're so confident. He drew his sword boldly, stating, "Then I'll swing my sword however I want. It's time to test the power of this mana technique." With that, he grabbed his sword and leapt to face it. "Here I come." Wu Jin tightened his grip on the sword, using his agility to perform elegant slashes, cutting its flesh. Wherever his sword landed, the monster was split into pieces. He fought while signaling to everyone, "Don't let it recover. Keep up the continuous attack pressure." The relentless attack surrounded the monster, leaving it confused and not knowing where to start. The monster was stalled by the overwhelming slashes, its whole body immobilized. At last, Wu Jin found its mana core and prepared to destroy everything. He said with a dark tone, "That's enough." Then he decisively swung his sword, splitting the monster's mana core. The surrounding people immediately stopped fighting, all of them exhausted. Raymond, injured, sat in a corner watching his performance. The split mana core fell to the ground, creating a screeching sound. They lay still on the ground, signaling the end of the battle. Everyone cheered. "We finally did it. We defeated that vile monster. Our names will become legendary from today." Everyone did well. Wu Jin stood still, staring at the ground for a long time. He pressed his lips together, filled with unspoken thoughts. At his feet was the piece of the mana core he had just destroyed. The crowd kept cheering in celebration. "You wretched kid, you're still alive," one shouted. The group was happily chatting, not noticing someone quietly watching them. She mumbled sadly, "Derek and Cedric, the sons of the Golden Bug family. In the end, you're no different from your father. Truly pitiful creatures." She cried, yet there was no sadness. "Even at the end, you remain so incompetent and useless." Suddenly, the woman noticed him. "Is that the man who fought with it?" she wondered. Selkie wondered, what is he planning to do? She saw him hide it under his shirt and wondered why he was collecting the monster's core. Wu Jin is sitting by the fire. He takes a monster core out of his bag. Just like before, Wu Jin picks it up and starts consuming it. Wu Jin closes his eyes to savor the taste. Instantly, images flow through his mind, making him wonder if these are someone else's memories. Currently, Wu Jin finds himself inside another's body, observing the events unfolding. A woman's voice echoes, saying the death of his father and everything that happened to Goldenbug were just consequences of his own weakness. She pushes a tray of tools next to Cedric, threatening that to survive he must prove himself. Selkie picks up a vial and looks at him expectantly, saying he must show how special he is. Then she pours a drop, her voice turning cold, questioning if he is fit to stand with her. One of his eyes sprouts veins like plants, spreading across his body. Cedric is overwhelmed. His eyes go white, yet he's unable to scream. At that moment, Wu Jin suddenly snaps out of the memory. He tries hard to stop himself from vomiting on the spot. Eventually, Wu Jin can't hold it and runs deep into the forest. He finds an appropriate spot and throws up everything inside. Wu Jin uses cool stream water to clean his mouth after the shock. He struggles to think, remembering that this happens sometimes. Absorbing cores grants beastly power, but sometimes it also engulfs their memories. These cores are nothing but a chaotic mess with side effects. Wu Jin quickly returns to his spot, still pondering if these were memories from the Golden Bug's offspring, who turned into monsters after something was applied to their eyes. He recalls every detail he heard. The woman said humans turn into abominations when affected by karma. Could that liquid be karma? He remembers her wicked face, thinking if so, that woman might be. Wu Jin silently wonders if she's a dark priestess. Just then, Claire comes over to remind him, "Jin, it's time to go." When she sees his condition, she's shocked, wondering why he's sweating so much. Claire crosses her arms and asks if anything happened, suspecting he might have consumed another core. Wu Jin mumbles to himself, questioning if he should tell everyone, but he struggles with explaining the side effect of seeing a monster's memories. A slip of the tongue could lead to misunderstandings. In the end, he just replies shortly, saying it's nothing, deciding to keep it a secret for now. Seeing him leave, Claire follows, neither of them noticing someone is still watching them closely. Selkie removes her hat, watching the direction they went, deep in thought. The two change the subject, moving on from the earlier conversation. She watches them intently for a long time without speaking. The group has gathered in one place for a discussion. Selkie leans against a tree, wondering what his plans are. It's unbelievable to think someone who dares to swallow Kor's whole is working with the religious alliance. She smiles with intrigue, finding it all very curious. Selkie puts her hat back on, turning away, thinking about what will happen when they meet again, whether they'll be allies or enemies. The group sets up tombstones to remember those who fell in battle. Raymond leads the memorial for Rex, and the atmosphere falls silent. He begins to pray, addressing Ea, the god of harmony. Raymond bows his head low, his voice filled with sorrow, praising Rex for his unparalleled bravery and lifelong devotion to peace. He prays that this sacrifice won't be in vain. Wu Jin muttered regretfully. Even though we only fought together once, he was so young, it's truly a tragedy. Suddenly, Raymond paused and looked to the side. He raised his voice to get everyone's attention. Wait a second, is that? Everyone was shocked. On the cliff was a red wolf. The wolf looked down at the group with glowing eyes in the dark night. Raymond immediately knelt down and shouted, "We are deeply grateful." Wu Jin asked in confusion, "Why is everyone suddenly doing that?" Raymond calmly replied, "We're expressing gratitude for the comfort from God Ea." He continued explaining, even though the wolf yawned, the red wolf is the closest companion of the god Ea, whom our church worships. Raymond bowed his head respectfully. The appearance of the red wolf right now is God Ea's way of soothing our pain. Wu Jin replied in puzzlement, "It's just my mangy dog." He immediately reacted strongly. "That's blasphemy. How dare you call the red wolf a mangy dog? Moreover, that beast can't be tamed." Wu Jin spoke helplessly. "They don't believe me at all." "Hey, you mangy dog." He coldly commanded, "Stop playing around. Come here now." The wolf shrank in fear at his angry face. It quickly jumped down from the cliff without any hesitation. Then, it casually sat in front of him, leaving Raymond stuttering, "What? Is it real?" He was stunned. The red wolf is a beast that even the church couldn't tame. How can an ordinary person do it? Wu Jin calmly explained, "I accidentally killed a werewolf, and it's been following me ever since." Raymond felt doubtful inside. Who is this guy really? He suddenly turned to look at the grave behind him. Where the wolf stood was coincidentally right next to Rex's grave. Raymond suddenly spoke up, "Jin, can I ask you a favor?" He sincerely requested, "If this red wolf doesn't have a name yet, please call it Rex." Raymond mournfully explained, "Firstly, it's not right for a holy beast of the church to be called a mangy dog." He tightened his grip on the sword to show his sincerity. "Secondly, I don't want Rex's spirit, who fought the demons to cleanse the demonic world, to be forgotten." He painfully remembered. He never let go of his sword until his last breath. Raymond bowed earnestly. "So please, let this red wolf continue that will under the name Rex." Wu Jin mumbled, "Rex's last wish?" He turned to ask the wolf, "Do you agree with that name?" The wolf nodded at him in agreement. Seeing this, Wu Jin responded, "All right, then it's settled. From now on, I'll call you Rex." Raymond, upon hearing this, let out a relieved sigh. "Thank you." At that moment, someone appeared behind them. The man spoke, drawing everyone's attention. "This old man shows up right at the critical moment, huh?" Everyone was immediately surprised. That old man. Wu Jin stared thoughtfully at him. If he's an elder, he must be someone with ultimate authority in this area. The man was none other than Bao, the elder of Frontier City, number 3. An elder walked calmly, leaning on a cane, with a white beard and a calm face that startled Wu Jin a bit. He looked at the elders with narrowed eyes, contemplating an elder, someone with supreme power here. "This is Elder Bao of Pioneer City number 3. His face showed calmness and strong pressure on those around him, even with his eyes covered. The troops moved quickly and decisively. They stayed focused and serious, gathering into a group. Raymond placed his hand on his chest, bowed slightly to show respect, saying, "You've arrived, Elder," while those behind him also showed solemnity. Bo kept calm, proactively apologizing. "I apologize for arriving during such a time as this funeral. Raymond, undeterred, went straight to the point by asking about the real purpose of the visit. "It's all right, sir, but may I ask why you are visiting?" He didn't beat around the bush, decisive and open about his goal. "I'm here to investigate the deaths of the Golden Bug's sons." Raymond shifted his attitude, narrowed his eyes in caution with a slight smirk. "Don't tell me you still suspect these people caused their deaths?" Wu Jin looked startled, focusing sharply, maintaining a calm but cautious demeanor when facing the current situation. His eyes narrowed, showing sharp analysis and an objective viewpoint. "Am I being suspected? A client dying while transporting a large fortune. It's natural to suspect the mercenaries." Raymond challenged the elder, firmly defending his credibility. "Is my testimony not enough to serve as evidence?" Bo maintained a calm demeanor, showing thoughtfulness and seriousness. "No, it's very convincing, however." He expressed honestly and openly about the limitations of his investigation. "We still don't have answers on why they turned into monsters." Bo showed a mysterious expression. The atmosphere became more tense as he brought up a new suspicion. "I sense a dark priest's involvement in this." He turned and called Wu Jin by name. "What do you think, Jin?" Wu Jin was startled, his face tense. He was very confused, eyeing Bao suspiciously. "He knows my name? And that woman, could it be?" Wu Jin broke the silence by asking back, his eyes showing determination. "Are you suspecting me of being the Dark Priest?" The elder Bao showed a contemplative yet stable and slightly mysterious demeanor in response. Arena Vritra, Pioneer City Number 3, towering city walls, a sturdy structure built with large stones. An arena with structures made of wood and stone. Bo showed suspicion and caution, trying to analyze and assess potential. "A strong person like you should have been famous from a young age." He explicitly questioned Wu Jin. "You appeared suddenly, achieving remarkable feats." Bao emphasized a serious event, skeptical and cautious. "Let's not forget, you happened to get involved in this monster transformation case." He exhibited authority, confidently asserting his judgment, accusing directly. "Look at yourself. Don't you find yourself suspicious?" Wu Jin looked over arrogantly, with a slight smirk. "Everyone here knows who's strong and who's weak." "Well, if that's the case, it's understandable to be suspected, especially since I'm not from this world." His eyes were sharp and mysterious, adding a threatening edge. Wu Jin stood proudly, comfortably, questioning. "What's this got to do with fighting you, elder? I really don't get this logic." Raymond showed support, agreeing with the earlier point. "Exactly, elder. Also, the mercenary just finished a fight. His health hasn't fully recovered." Wu Jin nodded in agreement. "True, but Bo showed confidence, slightly mocking. So what?" His expression was serious and decisive, applying pressure. "Are you implying you want to refuse to cooperate in the investigation?" Both Raymond and Wu Jin expressed extreme frustration and dissatisfaction with Bo's attitude or request. "This is unreasonable." Wu Jin pondered humorously despite moral conflict. "What should I do now? Hit an old man just because I'm suspected of being a dark priest due to my strength?" Wu Jin looked at him calmly. "Besides, fighting an old person just feels wrong. I can't bring myself to do it." Bo turned, extending his hand with a challenging tone, forcing Wu Jin to show his stance. "Are you thinking too much, or are you worried because I'm old?" He was very confident, assertive, and showed clear authority of a senior. "I appreciate your concern, but it's unnecessary. The reason I'm in this elder's position is entirely due to my strength." Bo's foot stomped hard on the ground, creating a shockwave and energy effect around him. He launched a direct attack towards Wu Jin, dispelling doubts about his abilities. Wu Jin looked shocked, his eyes wide, eyebrows tight. So fast. Bao's hand moved with internal energy, extremely fast and strong. He struck directly at Wu Jin, causing a strong tremor that sent dust flying all around. Wu Jin took the direct hit, his face grimacing in pain with blood at his mouth. Bao's blow was incredibly powerful, knocking Wu Jin hard to the ground. Raymond looked worried and warned about the enemy's skills, saying, "Jin, the Vritra monks are martial arts masters, extremely formidable in combat." Wu Jin was on the defensive, crouched with a hand over his mouth, as Raymond advised. "And the elder is the strongest of them. Don't let your guard down." Bo, with a fierce look and intense focus, prepared to strike. Raymond, aren't you being a bit biased? At this rate, the old man might get jealous. He unleashed a powerful attack, surrounded by a bright aura, leaving deep marks on the ground. Bo warned, I might not be able to control my strength, as Wu Jin was forced back, with injuries on his face, trying to withstand the pressure. Bo launched a powerful punch towards his opponent, enveloped by a bright energy. His punch created a massive shockwave, but Wu Jin quickly dodged to the side. Bao appeared surprised, his usual calm shaken slightly by a touch of doubt. Wu Jin, observing the battle with pain and caution, was shocked. Did he just block that sword strike with his bare hand? That hit really hurt, and it was right where the monster struck too. Wu Jin's eyes widened in disbelief. Wait a minute. Are my wounds all healed? Holding his sword with a tense expression, he thought about his injuries. The wounds from fighting that monster should have taken at least 2 weeks to heal. In the intense battle earlier, Wu Jin swung his sword at a creature that looked like a monster. He was stunned, horrified by how quickly he healed. Just like that. It's healed. Wu Jin stayed serious, focusing on the enemy, searching for the cause of his quick healing. No way could swallowing that core have given me the monster's healing ability. He smirked with determination and confidence. I've really hit the jackpot. Wu Jin attacked with his sword fiercely, while Bo blocked with his hand. Bo's face showed excitement, a smirk revealing arrogance and confidence in his strength. You call this your injured state? You're getting this old man excited. Bo, cunning, calculative, and ruthless, intended to restrain his instincts for a greater plan. I'd love to fight you more, but I mustn't act rashly. He shifted from excitement to cold decisiveness. I've confirmed your strength matches the rumors. Bo formed a hand sign, a brilliant golden aura radiating around him. Now it's time for the next step. He continued to focus his energy. A glowing symbol appeared on his blindfold, Mind Eye. Wu Jin's eyes showed surprise and tension as he watched his opponent use a special skill. Bao meditated with a special hand sign, his face deep in concentration. Only when you let go can you make room to fill. I've forsaken my normal eyes to awaken the third eye, the mind eye. He didn't just fight with physical strength. His mind eye allowed him to see into the soul, understanding a person's true nature. Bo's mind eye scanned Wu Jin. Show me, are you a dark priest or a new light rising? A view from behind or beside, a giant mantis-like creature. Its large eyes emitted a dim yellow light, with a detailed face description. Instead of simple compound eyes, this creature's eyes contained many smaller, bright red eyes. Focus on a brilliant golden mind eye symbol against a black background. Quick, get out of the way. Bao's feet stepped into the water, creating small ripples. He seemed to hear something, turning his head to confirm. Bo's face was sweaty, astonished by something unimaginable. Oh my God, what is this? He stood in a dark space filled with strange entities with glowing red eyes. Is this Jin's mental realm? At that moment, Wu Jin placed a hand on Bo's shoulder, trying to snap him back to reality. Worried, Wu Jin asked him, Are you okay, Elder? Unable to sense Bo's mana, he watched Bo sweat and feel disoriented by the unfolding events. Bo was cold and sweating, emphasizing the severity and weirdness of the situation. Not just uncomfortable, but chilling to the bone. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Bo was confused but held a glimmer of hope, trying to analyze and eliminate the worst possibility. But since this mind realm hasn't fallen, he's not a dark priest, so then. He clasped his hands and bowed to show respect to Wu Jin, who seemed confused and puzzled, wondering what was going on with the elder. Bo explained his actions, saying, I'm sorry, Jin. Please overlook this old man's rudeness. This verification is crucial to ensure you're not a dark priest. Wu Jin was a bit surprised and asked why he was saying that. At that moment, someone stepped out from behind the castle door, saying it was because they needed Wu Jin's help with a matter related to the dark priest. Hearing this, Wu Jin turned around, asking who she was. She walked towards Wu Jin and the elder, saying, It's a pleasure to meet you. Her face showed calm, confidence, and a bit of formality as she introduced herself. I'm Cindy, the youngest daughter of Golden Bug. The scene shows a dense forest with lush green foliage under a gray, gloomy sky. Cindy leads the group into the forest, aware of the situation. This isn't the first time these monsters have appeared. She maintains a serious and anxious expression as she explains the current issue. Recently, around Frontier City number 3, many people are turning into monsters, and even nearby forests are quickly being taken over by demons. Wu Jin's eyes are sharp and vigilant as he carefully surveys the surrounding environment. Right then, Cindy announces they've arrived. He glances around cautiously. Seeing the scene before him, Wu Jin is curious. What's this? The atmosphere is tense and dangerous. The rift core spreads demonic power. Wherever it is, that place soon becomes demon land. A group of people in white robes with tall hats are praying, asking for mercy and salvation for this land. Those praying have sincere and solemn faces. We pray, they say. Some wear masks and use special equipment to spray a substance. We pray, they say again. Wu Jin's face shows careful observation and seriousness, calm but thoughtful. Purifying the rift core doesn't seem simple. He's curious and trying to understand the world's power mechanisms. But shouldn't karma power weaken the further we are from the Northern Empire? Cindy nods slightly. That's right. Wu Jin turns with a confused expression. Yet this is happening? Her gaze is colder than before as she nods to confirm, yes. Cindy, with sharp eyes, confirms. It means someone is secretly pulling the strings behind the scenes. He looks serious and determined. It's a dark priest. She's worried about the future. If monsters and rift cores keep increasing like this, Frontier City number 3, which we worked hard to build, will be in great danger. Bo's attitude is extremely serious. He warns about a worsening situation. Even worse is, his actions and expressions show deep concern, but also determination. We might lose the whole city. Bao reveals their relentless efforts are showing results. We've been searching for the Dark Priest's hideout. Finally, we've identified a possible base. His face shows hesitation as he makes an important suggestion. So, Bo proposes, join the campaign in 2 weeks. Cindy will ensure you get the highest rewards. Wu Jin's eyes lift slightly, sharp and thoughtful. So this is what they want me for. He looks towards 2 people, Elder Bo of Frontier City number 3, and Cindy, the sole heir of Golden Bug. Wu Jin's mouth curls into a slight smile. Quite the prominent figures offering an invitation. His eyes brighten, his smile clear and satisfied. Could it be that my abilities are finally recognized? The sky grows darker, surrounding everything in shadow. Claire stands with crossed arms, her expression a bit reproachful. Gosh, I was worried sick. I heard if accused of being a dark priest, it's death or brutal torture. Wu Jin imagines a torture device with spikes inside. She clasps her hands together, seeming naive or indifferent. Torture? He looks up in surprise. It's here. That place is the city behind the walls, a vast area with strong buildings and surrounding fortifications. Yurgis, the walled city, its scale unmatched by any frontier city, is the safest place in this world. Wu Jin looks at the city with a light smile. Will there be a day when I live there? He shows caution and careful calculation. But now's not the time. Wu Jin calls out, "Hey Raymond." Raymond turns, frowns seriously, and looks at him. Wu Jin looks at a group over there and suggests, let's take a break before we continue. A group is resting beside a giant creature with a hard shell. Jonathan, looking surprised, clearly astonished by the mention of such a distant place. What? You're going to Frontier City number 3 right away? Wu Jin stays calm. I just got a new mission. Even though it's a bit sudden, he expresses his feelings and bonds with his teammates. Work's work. Once it's done, we go our separate ways. Still, I feel a bit sad. Wu Jin showed interest and asked about their plans. He wondered what everyone planned to do next. Jonathan and his friend cheerfully replied about their plans. Me? Probably have a few drinks and then some more, he said. Same here, the friend added. A few shots, then a few more. He thought to himself, these guys, seriously. Then he turned to ask Claire, and what about you? Claire closed her eyes with a calm face, showing decisiveness and composure. I'm planning to look for another job. Wu Jin was curious. Didn't you earn quite a bit this time? Claire was practical and straightforward about her finances. It's decent, but still not enough to enter the magic tower. He was surprised and wanted to learn more about her goal. The magic tower? Claire showed humility, aware of her current limitations. Even though I'm called a wizard, I only know some bits and pieces. My level is just above beginner. She expressed a strong desire for self-improvement. Living like this is okay, but now I really want to learn higher level magic. Maybe I'm being greedy. Claire beamed brightly as she explained her goal. So I'm saving up to go to the magic tower where I can learn better spells. Wu Jin showed respect for her efforts and ambition. Is the magic tower like a university for wizards? She's working hard to go study there. That's impressive. He decided something in his mind. Wu Jin opened his bag to get something, making her a bit curious. He smiled and handed a purse to Claire with a friendly and generous attitude. Is this enough? She asked, surprised. What's this? Wu Jin casually explained. To help you get into the magic tower. Claire was startled, waving her hands to refuse. No, I can't take this. It would be too shameless of me. He reassured her, showing empathy. I'm not giving it for free. Consider it me repaying a debt to you, Claire. Just take it as a gift. Jonathan looked shocked. That much money? Her eyes were wide with surprise, eyebrows knitted with emotion. But Wu Jin firmly placed the money in Claire's hands. He smiled warmly and said goodbye with an optimistic and warm attitude. See you next time. Claire, with eyes wide and a slight blush, showed deep emotion. She reached out to grab the edge of Wu Jin's shirt. Claire expressed deep gratitude. Thank you, Jin. Her face showed determination, serious and grateful. I will definitely repay this kindness. He looked at Claire with warmth in his eyes, a gentle and calm expression. Wu Jin maintained genuine care for those around him as he said farewell. Take care, everyone. Everyone's expressions showed regret at his departure. Wu Jin's determined eyes showed he wouldn't let personal feelings affect his next journey. He walked away quietly, leaving behind his companions who watched him go. Raymond was surprised by the sounds coming from Rex. He looked over and called, Rex. Raymond felt empathy and a bit of attachment. His farewell affirmed maturity and letting go. Go safely, Rex. Wu Jin moves around observing his surroundings with a calm face, but he stays alert. He keeps walking, glancing slightly backward, showing a thoughtful gaze. Cindy points out that the departure had a significant psychological impact. You said nothing would happen, but from the way you left, it's clear you're worried, aren't you? Bo responds with surprise. What are you talking about? Cindy explains seriously. What else but that mercenary guy? Cindy narrows her eyes slightly, showing sharpness and confidence. Not easily fooled, you admitted it yourself. She continues with a resolute expression, suggesting that it seems Jin swallowed an inner core. His demeanor shows depth, the manner of a master who knows many secrets. Wu Jin stays calm, using his knowledge to argue. Just because he absorbed an inner core doesn't mean he's a dark cultivator. Cindy counters seriously, showing skepticism, high alert, and directly challenging the view. Those words sound dangerous. Anyone who swallows an inner core gets blinded by power and loses self-identity. Isn't this basic knowledge? She closes her eyes, changing her address. Her expression shifts from questioning to earnest, showing respect but also pressure. Elder? No. Master, please be honest. Cindy shows sharpness, seeing through motives. You're trying to cover for Jin because you still hope he retains some humanity, don't you? Her words make him pause. An image of a masked person holding their forehead as if in thought or under pressure. Bo stays silent with a contemplative look, hiding his true thoughts. He chooses to end the conversation, showing avoidance. I don't want to continue this topic anymore. Cindy shows moderate respect, but is firm and determined. If I misspoke, I apologize, but remember this. She bows and walks quickly away, showing decisiveness and a desire to stop arguing. I'll keep this a secret for now, but if he does anything wrong, I'll personally accuse him of being a dark cultivator. Cindy's face is cold and challenging, and when that time comes, even the elder who vouched for him won't be at peace. After speaking, she quickly leaves. Bo remains firm and reassuring, having absolute trust in his control. Don't worry, that won't happen. Jin has swallowed many inner cores before. He's become so strong it's hard to gauge his ability, yet his rationality has never wavered. This affirmation reveals determination. He still maintains his humanity despite absorbing many inner cores, and that's undeniable proof. Thoughts reflecting caution and strategic thinking. We have to keep this a secret, because the world isn't ready to accept Jin yet. Bao gazes into the distance, thinking deeply, I am sure of this. He places great trust in Wu Jin in the power the young man holds. Bao foresees a different future, one that will bring great hope to this world. A battalion in armor, carrying backpacks and long spears, marching in formation down a road. This is the #1 expeditionary force, a large military unit. They collectively reflect life has times of love and hate, times of peace and times to rise and fight. Two spears clash with swift motion effects. The soldier's attitude shows dedication, reverence, and pride in receiving direct orders from superiors. He pointed at me and ordered me to take the sword. They forcefully stabbed their spears into the ground, emphasizing determination, steadfast will, and readiness for the upcoming battle. They show absolute loyalty. He pointed at my heart and commanded me to use faith to sweep away evil. Wu Jin grabs a stone and hits it against his head, blood splattering. The soldiers hear the noise and look back, their faces full of shock. The bloody stone falls to the ground. A soldier, horrified, shouts, "Hey, who is that guy?" As Jin mumbles numbers, 596, 697, 598, 599, 600. The wound on Wu Jin's head slowly closes up. He touches his own wound, realizing his ability. The special skill I got after swallowing the inner core was regeneration. To heal minor bruises or scratches, it takes just about 10 minutes. Wu Jin's eyes are sharp as he looks ahead, deep in thought. Even the bone fracture that monster caused healed completely after just 2 days. He gives a sly, confident smirk. Well then, Wu Jin looked down at his hand with a mysterious expression, wondering if his arm would grow back in less than a month should it be severed. Truly, consuming the inner core was worth it. He was eager to test it in real combat. Roland looked at him with amazement. The event unfolding before him was unexpected. He had heard about the skull crusher but never imagined it involved someone crushing their own skull like that. Wu Jin held his head, politely expressing, "Sorry if I startled you. I just wanted to check something." Roland smiled and exhaled, saying, "Supreme Commander of the expedition team, Roland of Harmonious Virtue." Roland showed friendliness and good intentions, saying, "It's fine. I really like geniuses like you. True geniuses tend to be a bit eccentric anyway." Wu Jin seemed puzzled, asking, "Genius?" His face lit up, emphasizing his words. "I'm talking about you, a mercenary recommended by Elder Bo. You must be an extraordinary genius." With a weary and impatient look, Wu Jin thought to himself, "This guy keeps rambling about genius, annoying. I don't want to be near him. What's important is, what's our plan?" Roland maintained his enthusiastic and appreciative gaze, saying, "That's the genius style, eager and decisive." As the commander, Roland laid out a clear battle plan. "We will advance to the northern forest of Pioneer City #3. First, we need to destroy the rift cores at the entrance. Then the whole team will move straight to their center." His plan showed caution and practicality. The battle time will depend on the actual situation, but the goal is to clear everything within 10 days. Wu Jin displayed sharp strategic thinking and confidence in his abilities. "That forest isn't that big. Isn't 10 days a bit long?" Roland gestured with his finger, smiling and agreeing, maintaining a positive attitude. Indeed, the vision of a genius is special. Normally, that time would be a bit lengthy. The ground shook violently, dust flying everywhere. However, Roland continued explaining to Wu Jin, unaware of a beast charging at them from behind. Due to the rift cores, the beast's territory has expanded. A subordinate soldier with a panicked face shouted loudly, "Commander!" Roland quickly reached for the sword at his side, ready to draw it and fight. He swung a large sword, striking the charging beast, splattering blood. Roland remained calm to analyze the tactical situation. Creatures that usually live deep underground are now appearing in well-lit places like this, so 10 days might actually be a bit short. The ground cracked, and tentacle-like or root-like things emerged from the earth, sweeping across the ground. The soldiers behind became frantic, highly alert as tentacles rose up. It's an ambush. Everyone prepare for battle. A monster resembling a giant rat, with sharp teeth and long claws, charged to attack. A soldier was attacked by the beast, blood splattering everywhere. Wu Jin expressed shock. Blood-sucking rats? They can dig too? Roland gave orders decisively, focusing on defensive tactics. Fight and protect each other's backs. If you expose your back to them, it's certain death. The soldiers took defensive positions, trying to repel the relentless attack of the beasts. He held his sword, seemingly discovering something unusual. Roland showed concern for Wu Jin. Hey, genius, watch out. His eyes widened in surprise. Wu Jin was surrounded and attacked from all sides by the beasts. He endured the direct attacks, reflecting the brutal nature of close combat. Roland appeared panicked, raising his hand to stop and shouting, "Hey, what on earth are you doing? Are you crazy?" In intense close combat, Wu Jin used his weapon to stab directly into the beast. He bit fiercely into its body. The beasts screamed loudly in pain. Wu Jin's eyes became sharp and different. If I eat all of this, will I get the blood-sucking rat skills? Even if their digging ability isn't very useful, it doesn't matter. His expression was full of determination and wildness. The beasts in front of him no longer looked like monsters. To him, they were just mobile inner cores. Wu Jin held a part of the creature's body. Inheriting a skill by consuming a beast's core has an extremely low chance of success. This was the secret that kept Wu Jin alive for 12 years in this demon land. Finished with his task, he let out a sigh. Wu Jin squinted and thought to himself, I'm getting tired of this. I've chewed through about 40 cores already. I wonder if that's enough to learn the earth excavation skill. Right then, a hand reached out to him. Wu Jin was startled when he heard a soldier hurriedly asking, Hey, mercenary, are you all right? Despite having claw marks on his face, Wu Jin shouted back, What are you doing? Don't you see it's dangerous? I'm fine. Just hold the formation. He swore internally, thinking, Damn it, how am I supposed to secretly eat the cores like this? The soldier quickly pulled Wu Jin out while reassuring him. Don't worry, we're safe now. A hymn started to play. Roland smirked and played melodious tunes on his instrument. The soldiers started shouting, I feel power surging through me. Let's destroy all of them. Wu Jin was momentarily surprised by the scene. The soldiers' strength and defense had suddenly increased. So this was the enhancement from the hymn? He stared at Roland, who was lost in music, and thought, Wait, I thought Roland was a swordsman, but he's actually support? Suddenly, someone shouted loudly, All troops listen up. A voice yelled, Now's the time to counterattack. It was the moment they all charged forward, engaging with the beasts. By evening, a voice echoed over the fallen monsters. Quickly tally the results. Those who participated today, gather here. A soldier held a stack of papers in one hand and a loudspeaker in the other, saying, The results will decide the rewards, so please cooperate a bit. People nearby started talking. I really don't get it. First, he hits his own head with a rock, then charges straight into the monsters. They watched Wu Jin's actions in confusion, saying, Now he's digging the ground? What's going on? He wiped sweat off his forehead and muttered, Could it be that I still haven't learned the earth excavation skill? Inheriting a skill really depends on luck. Suddenly, Roland approached and quietly asked, Jin, are you all right? Startled, he turned and replied, Oh, Roland. Wu Jin blamed himself. Sorry for making everyone worry. Roland smiled and praised him. Don't say that. Your battle today was incredible. To be honest, when I saw you charging into that sea of monsters alone, I thought you were done for, but the final result proved everything. Wu Jin quietly dusted off his hands while listening to Roland, who said, I heard you personally took down 267 vampire rats, right? Regular soldiers only take out 4 to 5 on average. Even holy knights manage about 100 to 150 at most, Roland explained. At the end, Roland bowed his head and emphasized, That's the level of a prodigy. Wu Jin thought about that and mused. Again with the prodigy thing, if I hadn't spent time eating the cores, this battle would have been a disaster. Then he called out, Oh, by the way, Roland. Wu Jin dusted off his clothes and asked, Are you really support? Roland frowned and questioned, "Why? Is there a problem? Do you look down on support roles? I always thought you were the kind of person who liked using brute strength, so I was a bit surprised that the reality was so different." Wu Jin quickly explained. Wu Jin coughed awkwardly, sweat pouring down, then admitted, "You guessed right." Roland folded his arms, nodded, and replied, "I also long to fight with a sword, but you still don't get it. Why not just do it then?" Roland hesitated. "It's because," he seriously stated, "the Alliance's combat goal is peace." Sadly, Roland recounted, "So many people have lost their homes and lives because of this demon land. I chose the role where I could contribute the most to the world." He mimicked playing his instrument again and happily showed off. "My swordsmanship is just a bit above average, but my musical talent is top tier in the Alliance. I'm really skilled in music and art." Wu Jin froze for a few seconds, initially thinking Roland was unbearable with his prodigy talk. He stared at Roland's smile and thought, "But it seems Roland is better than I thought." Then Wu Jin took the initiative to ask, "Could you let me listen to your music a bit?" Roland laughed heartily. "Of course." A week later, flags waved high above the tents. Inside, a report sounded. We ventured deeper into the demon land, destroying numerous rift cores, from kobolds to long-eared beasts. Standing in the middle, Roland said, "Certainly, the deeper we go, the more powerful monsters we'll encounter. How's the morale of the soldiers now?" A soldier raised his hand and replied, "They're even more excited than when we started." And Roland, a bit surprised, said, "Really? Is that so?" "Actually." Right then, a group of monsters charged in, and Wu Jin single-handedly swept them away. In a moment, he faced the gigantic rabbit beast. But Wu Jin wasn't afraid and sliced it in half. Then he chewed on its core. Wu Jin looked at the item in his hand and sighed inwardly, thinking, "Damn it, failed again." On the other side, Roland received intelligence reports. Every time monsters appeared, that mercenary would clear them all. He paused for a moment and smiled. Suddenly, Roland laughed and asked, "Is being outdone by a mercenary an embarrassment to the Alliance, or what?" Alex hurriedly raised his hand, criticizing, "There's nothing funny about this. The soldiers are becoming too careless, yet they'll still receive huge rewards thanks to his accomplishments." He argued, "Isn't that good? Thanks to him, hardly anyone got hurt. If strong monsters are showing up more often, that means we're very close to our goal. Let's rest while we still can." Scene shifts to a deep abyss with towering pillars around. Vikram pondered for a while and then spoke, "Are the people of the Order Alliance coming here?" He couldn't help but wonder, how did they find this place? Selkie stood on a nearby pillar and continued, "With all those cracked cores scattered everywhere, it'd be strange if they didn't suspect something." She closed her eyes, sounding very confident. "Even so, I believe our youngest sibling has planned it all." Selkie insisted, "Our chosen youngest sibling couldn't possibly be so incompetent." Three pairs of eyes from above immediately looked down to where Enoch was standing. He slowly sat down to reassure, "Don't worry too much. Defending is always easier than attacking, right?" Enoch smirked and excused himself. His reaction was only a tiny bit faster than expected, just a tiny bit. He placed his hand on his chest and assured, "The grand plan of the darkness will not be hindered by anyone." At the same time, Roland's army, along with Wu Jin, suddenly stopped in the forest. He looked down at the giant pit with webs everywhere and exclaimed, "What a disaster!" Roland shuddered, speechless. "I've seen a lot of crazy things, but this..." Below, countless venomous spiders were waiting. Roland furrowed his brows in confusion. "Is this really the place we need to go?" Asher confirmed from behind. "Yes, the chaotic aura of the demon realm is gathering here." He glanced down and muttered, "I've never heard of a place like this existing." Roland, still in disbelief, added, "This is truly perplexing." Suddenly, Wu Jin's voice piqued Roland's curiosity. "But don't you think something feels off here?" "Usually fighting above ground gives an advantage," Wu Jin recounted. "Yet they've dug this huge pit for a base instead." Roland guessed, maybe they're doing this to avoid detection? Wu Jin countered immediately. If that was the case, they should have dug an underground tunnel. Hearing that, Roland stroked his beard and agreed, "That's true. So why did they do this?" Wu Jin hesitated, whispering, I think it's... Wu Jin's voice grew tense. It could be a trap. Roland was startled and shouted, "What?" Just then, a sound from behind caught their attention. The soldiers saw the beast fling their comrades into the air and began shouting frantically. It's... Someone identified the enormous figure right away. Bigfoot. Bigfoot is a massive demonic beast ranging from 4 to 7 meters tall, known for its terrifying strength, and accompanied by Salmosa, a serpent-like monster with a rock-hard skin and deadly venom. Bigfoot suddenly raised its arm high. The next moment, it slammed its arm down, sending soldiers flying in all directions. Bigfoot rampaged through the area with Salmosa wrapped around it. The soldiers kept falling into the huge pit. Everyone got caught in the spider webs laid all over. Someone cried out in fear at the venomous spiders around. These things are. He was grabbed by one and screamed in distress. Seeing this, Roland quickly gave orders. Everyone's falling into the pit. Deal with those Bigfoots now. Meanwhile, Wu Jin stood quietly behind, listening to their chatter. The enemy is far too large for us. Support team, hurry up, prepare the buffs. He suddenly let out a challenging grin. Come here. Meanwhile, Bigfoot continued stomping around everywhere. It didn't hesitate to charge at Wu Jin with its massive fist. Bigfoot struck in a flash, but Wu Jin managed to dodge. Everyone watching couldn't help but worry. Roland was shocked and called out loudly. Jin, Bigfoot, the largest of the beasts, had a serpent coiled around its arm. Wu Jin felt a sense of achievement inside. That's exactly it. He and the beast fell into the huge pit, while Wu Jin remained deep in thought. Even you recognize me as a worthy opponent, don't you? Quickly, he stabbed his sword into the rock wall for support. Wu Jin slid down a long path. Not long after, his feet landed on a massive rock. Wu Jin gave a cold glance back. By then, Bigfoot was also swinging between webs from one place to another. He watched it closely and confirmed to himself its ability to move relies on the terrain. Wu Jin realized its potential, along with its terrifying close-quarters strength. He swung his sword to deflect the green venom from Salmosa, even from its long-distance venom shots. Wu Jin bared his teeth with ambition surging. Honestly, I want every one of your skills. He arrogantly remarked. Looks pretty good. In an instant, Wu Jin fell onto a spiderweb. He used it as a springboard to jump back up. Wu Jin dashed around from place to fight them. He unleashed his purple energy, calculating usually when two magical beasts coordinate in battle, their strength is not simply added, it's multiplied. Bigfoot was ready to give it his all, but these types of monsters always have a common weakness. Salmosa instantly stuck out its long tongue. Wu Jin quickly moved behind them, thinking, if it's hard for me to fight two at once, these beasts won't find it easy to act as a unified entity with two bodies. His face was fierce with intent, muttering, no matter how well they cooperate. Wu Jin shouted loudly, catching Bigfoot's attention, because ultimately, in danger, they will act on instinct. It swung its fist but missed, and at the same time, Wu Jin's sword cut across Salmosa, and its head fell off. Bigfoot panicked, sweat dripping down, screaming in pain. He continued raising his sword with blazing purple energy. And then Wu Jin easily took Bigfoot's head. This is the master move to hunt two magical beasts at once. Immediately, Bigfoot's knees hit the ground. He stood coolly next to the two massive bodies with blood everywhere. Wu Jin said, after all, he glanced at them and remarked, for gatekeepers, they fought pretty well. Suddenly, a force of energy moved towards Wu Jin. He turned to the energy emanating from Salmosa, murmuring, what's that? A core was gradually emerging from it, making Wu Jin feel something was off. Is it the core of that snake beast? What's this strange feeling? He gasped. Could it be? Wu Jin reached out and lifted Salmosa's core. He began to eat it voraciously. Afterward, Wu Jin felt Salmosa's power within him. His pupils lit up. I absorbed that beast's skill. Wu Jin raised his palm, whispering excitedly, now I can identify which cores let you inherit skills. Eating so many cores, now I've got rare skills too. This is a huge haul. He was eager. Let's see, should I try out some new moves? Not knowing a flame was shooting from the back of the cave. As it got closer, Wu Jin realized in the blink of an eye, an explosion went off in front of him. Enoch laughed even more wickedly. He was the one controlling that flame. Enoch arrogantly taunted, I can't believe you dare be so carefree in the enemy's territory. You're truly pathetic, human. He suddenly stopped when he heard Wu Jin cursing. Damn it. Wu Jin stood in the fire cursing. Trash. Wu Jin's body was now stone. Muttering Wu Jin gritted his teeth. I really wanted that venom-spitting skill. The flames slowly faded away, and Wu Jin was completely unharmed. He sighed in frustration, saying, This is so boring. Wu Jin smirked, thinking, This isn't the technique I'm looking for, but it seems quite useful. Did I just block the fire attack with this? This skill is worth delving into more, but still. He recalled the moment when that flaming circle came close. Wu Jin's arm instantly turned to stone and gripped the sword hilt. He jumped up and swung powerfully. Wu Jin coldly told himself, This battle isn't over yet. Enoch was shocked, thinking, He managed to block my critical strike twice? He stared at Wu Jin's decisive move, wondering, That guy? The crazy one who hangs out with humans and devours beast cores recklessly. Something suddenly rose on Enoch's back as he thought, if it's really him? In an instant, countless sharp spider legs emerged from his back, and Enoch silently decided, I'm going all out on this match. Then both sides charged forward. He used his sturdy spider legs to block Wu Jin's sword. The force pushed Wu Jin back. Wu Jin was a bit surprised, then realized, that's an inherited technique. He observed Enoch's body and wondered, did he gain that power by consuming the core of a spider demon? Then Enoch spoke, I've been looking forward to meeting you for a long time. I never expected you'd come here on your own. The sharp spider legs gathered in front of one of Enoch's eyes, and he shouted, I'm so moved I could cry. Right after that, Enoch spread his arms wide and summoned a swarm of venomous spiders. Wu Jin's eyes widened in shock, thinking, so he's not alone? The spiders began to spew venom. Wu Jin steeled himself and swung his sword to block the venomous spray. He gritted his teeth and admitted, the destructive power is terrifying. At that moment, a terrible explosion erupted. Roland, who was playing his instrument, froze as it spread. He looked back in shock. Jin. By then, Wu Jin had plunged his sword into the ground, the flames vanishing, leaving large and small rings on the ground. Enoch was also surprised and exclaimed, Amazing. He examined Wu Jin's stone body and continued, I didn't expect anyone to stand strong after taking that direct hit. Wait, calling this guy human seems a bit much, doesn't it? Wu Jin's arm had cracked, with small pieces of stone falling off. He wiped his face, feeling the resonance between the poison gas and the fire created a much more violent explosion than expected. Even with a stone skin, this was too much to handle. He squinted in deep thought. A dark priest for sure cannot be underestimated. Wu Jin was startled when Enoch suddenly leaped towards him. Enoch extended his spider legs, but luckily Wu Jin quickly jumped back. Enoch smugly shouted, Let's see. He charged repeatedly, challenging, Let's see how you handle close combat. Wu Jin gritted his teeth, fending off each of Enoch's strikes. He began to summon his bright purple energy. Wu Jin swiftly launched a slash toward Enoch's face. Suddenly, a force came rushing from behind, towards the top of Wu Jin's head. The venom and the raging flames merged as if aiming to incinerate Wu Jin. He quickly raised both hands to shield his face. Wu Jin widened his eyes, thinking, should I handle these spiders first or what? But it's not easy with that dark priest in the way. He felt the cracks on his body because of the fire. His internal organs were severely damaged. Both his super recovery and stone skin abilities had reached their limits. He couldn't endure much longer. Enoch seized the opportunity and charged in an instant. Wu Jin squinted, calculating. Now, the only solution left is... At this moment, his spider legs were raised. They aimed straight at his body, pinning Wu Jin against the rock wall. His sword immediately dropped to the ground with a thud. Seeing this, Enoch smirked. The stone transformation disappeared, and now his body was pinned down by sharp spider legs. He triumphantly shouted, "How interesting! Now I understand why they spared you." Enoch commanded them to dig deeper into Wu Jin, shouting, "You not only cancel my techniques with that weak ability, but also use magic circles. You're definitely too valuable to simply kill." Immediately after, he retracted them and continued, "All right." Enoch watched him drop to his knees and suggested, "I'll give you one last offer." Walking closer, he proposed, "Join the Dark Priest sect. If you do, I promise to spare your life." Wu Jin painfully exhaled a few breaths. Enoch held his head high, continuing to entice. "This offer surely isn't a loss for you. Haven't you realized that owning those abilities makes you different?" He raised his arm and continued, "But those ordinary humans out there will always try to ban that power. And once you dare to use this ability," Enoch, wide-eyed, declared, "they'll immediately purge you and label you a dark priest." Raymond's image appeared in Wu Jin's mind at his words. "Your fate won't be any better. You're just lucky to be with the Church Alliance for now." He thought of Bo when Enoch questioned, "But when they find out you're using Beast Core power, do you think they'll still see you as one of them?" He extended his arm and urged, "So join me quickly. Let's be on the same boat, since we're in the same predicament." Enoch's tone was filled with ambition. Only then can you rise in strength and freely enjoy supreme powers. In the face of these words, Wu Jin remained silent. After a while, he swore. Wu Jin mocked. "Why does a fool like you babble so much?" He warned, "This isn't good. I must teach you a memorable lesson." Enoch, startled, shouted, "What?" Wu Jin closed his eyes, emanating red spiritual power, continuing, "I really didn't plan on using this move." Then he opened his eyes, which had turned into snake eyes, and emphasized, "But you forced my hand." Enoch's flame gradually shrank. He was briefly surprised, not understanding what was happening. At this moment, many black streaks erupted from behind Wu Jin. Enoch was pushed back by this force. Panic-stricken, impossible, he widened his eyes, perplexed. This terrifying power. Wu Jin's body was undergoing a major change. His skin formed small patches like scales. He gritted his teeth and reminded, "Say something reasonable." All the power inside him exploded outward, turning the dark space blood red. With his new skin, sharp nails, and fiery red pupils, he taunted, "Who ever heard of an alpha wolf bowing to serve a stray dog?" Enoch was stunned, wondering to himself, "This is insane. What kind of monstrous form is that? Was he hiding his power all along?" Frightened, Enoch ordered, "My children, burn him to ashes for me." Wu Jin heard the command and stayed silent. Instead of replying, he quietly raised a finger. Immediately, Enoch and his creatures were attacked mercilessly, left with nothing to do but hold their heads in defense, unable to fight back. His creatures stood frozen, enduring the relentless assault without mercy from Wu Jin. Wu Jin didn't stop, as red energy continued to pour from him. It directed right at Enoch, causing him to writhe in pain. In agony, Enoch wondered, "Is the difference in our powers really this huge? What kind of beast core did he absorb to have such terrifying strength?" Wu Jin had no intention of stopping. Enoch cried out in pain, each cell in his body feeling like it was about to explode. His body showed signs of erosion, making him think, "No matter what, staying here is too dangerous. I need to escape immediately." As he was about to leave, Wu Jin was suddenly right behind him, grabbing one of his claws. Surprised, Enoch thought, "When did he get behind me?" Wu Jin tightened his grip on Enoch's claw. He attacked it with his power, as if wanting to crush it. The area he grabbed shriveled under Wu Jin's hand. Then the claw snapped in two, blood splattering, and Enoch screamed. He collapsed to the ground, feeling worse than death. Wu Jin carelessly tossed the broken claw aside. Enoch still tried to flee. He then hurriedly pleaded, "Wait, hold on, let's negotiate. We can surely reach an agreement." Sweating profusely, Enoch kept pleading, "Both you and I have absorbed beast cores. If we sit down and talk, we can create something mutually beneficial. Don't you think so?" Wu Jin responded blandly, "The only help you can offer me is..." He commanded, "Tell me everything about your dark priest comrades." Enoch, unafraid, loudly questioned, "Why are you doing this? You're using the same power as us. Humans will reject you too, so why are you working so hard for them?" Wu Jin answered, "That's not related to my question at all." Realizing he had been too impulsive, Enoch quickly compromised. "Wait, okay, whatever you say, I'll—" Before he could finish, he was hit with a powerful punch from Wu Jin. Wu Jin said, "You only have this one chance." Enoch got up, furious. He cursed angrily, "You bastard!" Then he disappeared, leaving Wu Jin alone there. Wu Jin also began to revert back to his normal form. Blood streamed continuously from his mouth, nose, and eyes. Wu Jin wiped his nose, realizing it just now. The blood wouldn't stop, along with the disappearance of his scales. Wu Jin tiredly collapsed to the ground. He cursed to himself. "Damn, I'm so exhausted." Annoyed, he thought. "That's why I hate using this power. Even activating it briefly leaves my body with heavy side effects." Wu Jin tried hard to stay conscious, thinking in panic. "This is bad. My eyes are closing. No, I can't collapse here." From a distance, Roland hurriedly ran over, and Wu Jin noticed, thinking, "Look, isn't that—" Before passing out, a name appeared in Wu Jin's mind, Roland. He thought with relief, "Thank goodness. It seems everything is resolved," as Roland shouted, "Quick, bring the stretcher here." Roland's face showed clear worry as he softly called, "Jin." He asked him, "What on earth kind of terrifying battle did you just go through?" In Pioneer City number 3. Inside a room, warm sunlight streamed through the window, lighting up every corner. Wu Jin finally woke up after a long sleep. He struggled to sit up, couldn't help but exclaim, "Ouch." Wu Jin said in disbelief, "I'm still alive?" Suddenly, the door opened, and a maid rushed in, exclaiming, "Oh my God!" She quickly ran outside, shouting, "The mercenary is awake." Roland appeared quickly after hearing the news and asked worriedly, "Jin, you're awake?" He asked, "What happened?" Roland replied, "You've been unconscious for 3 days." He thought, 3 whole days. Even with my new super regeneration ability, the side effects are no joke. Wu Jin asked, "Has the expedition ended?" Roland smiled and replied, "It's done. We've cleaned up most of the rift cores around and kept casualties to a minimum." With a grin, he said, "Thanks, it's all thanks to you." He felt pleased and said humorously, "Then just compensate me with a generous bonus. Knowing my abilities are appreciated never gets old." Suddenly, the door opened and a stranger walked in. Jeff bowed respectfully and said, "Hello, I'm from the Church Alliance. I want your account of this expedition's events." He added, "What kind of enemies did you face, and how did you fight them? Please describe it in as much detail as possible." Wu Jin asked coldly, "Why do you have to?" Jeff explained, "We have to keep records, but the battlefield was complete chaos." He emphasized, "We simply couldn't believe it. It was an earth-shattering battle between a man and a monster." Wu Jin thought unhappily, "Am I still under suspicion?" He sighed and said, "I thought it would have a happy ending. It's really troublesome." He felt very confused and thought nervously, "What plausible lie should I come up with now?" Suddenly, Bo appeared and said, "Let me handle it." Jeff called out in confusion, "Elder." He questioned irritably, "You said you'd handle it yourself. What do you mean by that?" Bo replied, "Did I stutter or something?" In a serious tone, he said, "I said step outside immediately." Jeff reluctantly obeyed, stammering, "Yes, sir." Outside, the sky was clear and blue. It was a day with good weather. Bo calmly sat down, enjoying the gentle sunlight. Wu Jin said, "Thank you. I was worried I'd be falsely accused or misunderstood right after waking up." Inside, Wu Jin thought critically, "Since our first meeting, this old man has always paid special attention to me." Bo replied seriously, "You don't need to worry." He continued, "Because no matter what form you transform into, I've decided to put my full faith in you." Wu Jin hesitantly asked, "Does that mean—" Bo took out a small blue orb from his clothes. He was speechless with surprise. "That is," Wu Jin guessed to himself, "a monster core, right?" Bo explained slowly, "I retrieved this from the body of the dark priest you defeated." He continued, I secretly hid it. Wu Jin was shocked, unable to believe what he heard. Bao placed the monster core in his hand and said, For some reason, I have a feeling that you'll need this. With each snip of the scissors, hair quickly fell onto Wu Jin's shoulders. He put on a pair of black leather gloves. Bo couldn't help but comment, It suits you, doesn't it? Wu Jin asked back, Do you really think so? Wu Jin thought to himself, It's not just comfortable. The fabric feels like it's becoming one with my body. He said to himself, If I'd known it was this nice, I would have ordered custom clothes sooner. Bo laughed and said, Already feeling good just trying it on? The true value of that outfit isn't in its comfort. To which Wu Jin asked, Oh, really? A golden aura shone on Wu Jin's face. Bo raised one hand. Then he struck Wu Jin hard on the chest. Wu Jin wondered in confusion. Did this old man just punch someone unconscious for 3 days? Suddenly he froze. Wait a minute. But, Wu Jin said, puzzled, I don't really feel any pain. Bao explained calmly, That's because it's a relic. Wu Jin reiterated, A relic? Bao continued, A relic is an item imbued with magic, extremely expensive and rare. Bo added, It's as light as animal skin, but it's a mystical item with defense capabilities as strong as iron armor. Wu Jin laughed and asked, A relic, huh? This must be expensive. It feels great. And Bo replied, Of course you can't buy it, no matter how much gold you have. At that moment, Cindy entered and said, And here, this is the reward for this mission, a total of 2,400 gold coins. The chest was opened, filled with gold, shining with a mesmerizing light. Wu Jin asked in amazement, 2,400? Are you really giving me this much money? Bo responded, You deserve it after defeating countless monsters. You helped us handle both the Rift Core and the Dark Priest. Your contribution was immense, so it's only right you receive this much. Cindy chimed in. Of course, I also added a little from my own pocket. Wu Jin thought to himself, Big missions are different. The reward is top-notch. Outwardly, he said, But even so, he asked, Why are you so good to me? Thinking, being overly nice is suspicious too. His voice suddenly turned cold as he said, You two know about me absorbing monster cores. Bo and Cindy both looked at him, surprised by Wu Jin's thoughts. Bo laughed and stroked his chin. Bo said, I treat you well, and you still complain? Wu Jin quickly denied. No, I mean, the morning passed like that until nightfall, by a pit on the outskirts of Pioneer City number 3. Helix said cautiously, It seems something just moved. Liam yawned and replied, What are you talking about? It's just the wind. Helix trusted his instincts and answered no, something definitely moved. Liam scoffed, Nonsense. Suddenly, a large chain wrapped around a guard's neck. The chain tightened around his neck, silencing him. The stranger yanked hard, and the head immediately came off, blood splattering. The man held the blood-stained chain with a satisfied grin. Liam asked in a panic, What the heck? Who are you? But he didn't get the chance to find out. The moonlight above illuminated the scene, making visibility easier. The man stood with Selkie at the bottom of the pit. She angrily scolded. Unbelievable to be defeated like that, by a bunch of useless idiots. Selkie painfully recalled our youngest brother Enoch. The more she thought, the angrier she got, shouting loudly, What a failure, huh? The guy turned back and said, There's probably a few, stronger than the low-level knights standing guard. Vikram hesitated and added, But it doesn't really matter. I already expected it to lose anyway. He continued, That's just within the limits of our plan. Selkie asked, You expected it already? Vikram didn't answer. He placed a hand on the stone and said, Then we should get going. A matrix with strange patterns appeared, emitting a bright blue light. Then, a sequence of incredibly complex characters followed. Vikram stood there as the space around him started to shake. He continued his actions, trying to move the stone. Vikram said coldly, Time to start the plan. Slaughter these stupid humans. When the stone was moved, it revealed countless people trapped inside, unable to move, only able to scream in agony. And next to them were bottles of unknown liquids. Meanwhile, at Wu Jin's place, Bo stood thinking by the window and hesitated before saying, "What I mean is," he sincerely said, "I know I have no right to scold you. Rather, I want to ask you a favor." Bo softly pleaded, "Please use that overwhelming power for the survival of humanity, Jin." He thought quietly, "I thought I'd be tortured if someone found out I eat monster cores." Wu Jin sighed heavily, thinking, who would have thought their reaction would be to ask me to use this power to help? The thoughts kept flowing, but now they were more at ease. I was so worried before, now I feel relieved. He asked, "Does anyone else know about this?" Bo replied, "No, currently only the two of us know." Cindy said, "But I don't think others would react like we do." He responded, "I think so too." Wu Jin asked, "So, specifically, how can I help?" Bo touched a monster core and said, "That's the monster core of the Dark Priest." He continued, "As far as I know, if you stroke the monster core, you can gain the monster's memories, although the success rate is very low." Bo clearly explained his thoughts, but if you absorb the core of someone who was once human, the rate is said to increase significantly. He thought to himself, "So that's why I saw the memories of those golden bugs' children," Wu Jin said. "So," he directly asked, "you want me to swallow it to find information about the Dark Priests?" Bo softly replied, "I'm counting on you, Jin." In his heart he thought, "I found someone to talk comfortably with and get to eat the monster core I missed when I fainted." He laughed and said, "Looks like you leave me no choice but to eat this core. For the greater good, of course." He tightly gripped the monster core in his hand. At another moment, a desperate voice rang out, "I want to be chosen too. I don't want to live this trashy failed life anymore." Enoch, disregarding his honor, knelt and pleaded relentlessly, "I want real and absolute power." Selkie indifferently responded, "Is that so?" She raised a vial containing a blue liquid and said, "Then prove it." The next morning, Wu Jin slowly opened his eyes. Bao asked worriedly, "Jin, are you all right?" He rubbed his head and replied, "Yes, I know now." Wu Jin said, "The next plan of the Dark Priests." The sun was fully up outside the castle. Bo Wu Jin and Cindy walked slowly on the stone path. He asked, "Are you sure?" Wu Jin answered, "Yes, it can't be wrong." Wu Jin explained quietly that for the Dark Priests, the recent combat was just a distraction. The real target was somewhere else. He looked at the letter in his hand and continued, "To be more specific, it's a traditional event that always occurs after an expedition ends." He added, "It's the Archbishop's celebration. They plan to attack that event to wipe out the high-ranking officials all at once." A shadow loomed over his thoughts. He asked again, "But if it's the Archbishop's party, the security will be tight. Are they really that powerful?" Wu Jin replied, "I haven't been able to fully assess the enemy's numbers." Wu Jin added, "However, there's one person who always hides their face with an iron mask." He confidently said, "And there's a woman who killed the golden bug's children. Both exude a terrifying pressure." Bao stroked his beard in thought, saying, "A surprise attack, huh?" Cindy then spoke up, "In my opinion." She boldly shared her thoughts. "It's too risky for us to handle this alone. Perhaps we should report it to the Alliance to postpone the celebration." Bo quickly objected. "Absolutely not." He said, "Once we alert the Alliance, we have to disclose that Jin absorbed the demon core. By then, we'll be labeled as the Dark Priest's accomplices." Bao continued to hypothesize possible scenarios, adding, "Moreover, if the celebration is cancelled, they'll switch to another plan, and we'll be on the defensive again." Wu Jin worriedly asked, "Then what should we do now?" He replied, "We'll turn the tide using the news you brought back." Bo hinted, saying, "Since we know those rats will show up, all we need to do is set a strong trap." That evening, at the party hall, the space was lavishly decorated, and many people were already there. Wu Jin confidently walked in, and many eyes immediately focused on him. They whispered, "Is that him? The mercenary who achieved great feats in the recent expedition?" He looked so young, without any hint of being a master. A girl covered her mouth, saying, "But rumor has it that in battle, he turns into a real beast." The other young lady laughed. "A beast, huh? Interesting. Let me go talk to him. A brave young lady indeed. Suddenly, a voice said, "Look who's here." Wu Jin stopped and turned to see. Roland cheerfully put his arm around Wu Jin's shoulder, laughing and asking, "Isn't this the genius highlight of today's party? The war ended a while ago, and you're only just showing up now." He said casually, "I thought you died in some corner, you fool." Wu Jin looked at him thinking, "Roland, I didn't expect you to worry about me." Wu Jin replied, "Sorry, I got held up with some personal matters, so I came late." Roland laughed loudly. "No worries, I get it. That battle was indeed a big deal." He quietly asked, "But more importantly, what's going on?" Wu Jin, confused, replied, "Huh?" Roland leaned in and said, "It seems our outstanding genius is under some attention." He looked at Jeff, who was glancing at him, and said, "Isn't that the judge standing over there?" Wu Jin thought in frustration, "That crazy guy is always overly serious." He said, "They see that I have great power, so they're starting to suspect." Roland covered his mouth, saying, "Those who don't even show their faces on the battlefield just cause trouble. On behalf of the Alliance members, I'm sorry for that." He added, "But don't let it bother you too much." Roland sincerely advised, "The value of you risking your life to save many lives is undeniable." Wu Jin felt grateful. "Thank you, Roland." Suddenly, there was a noise from the door. A loud voice announced, "His Excellency, the Archbishop, has arrived." Conrad walked down the steps. He bowed, presenting a gentle and noble demeanor. A young lady stepped forward respectfully, saying, "Greetings, Your Excellency, the esteemed Archbishop." He smiled and asked, "Is everyone here enjoying the event to the fullest?" Conrad spoke to everyone. "This celebration is thanks to all of your contributions. I wish you all a memorable banquet tonight." Wu Jin just glanced over without showing any emotion. Bo stood silently beside him, as if deep in thought. He thought to himself, "The party's atmosphere has reached its peak. It's time for us to act." Wu Jin's eyes showed determination. He angrily thought, "It's time to wipe out those bastards." Outside, Selkie's men were lined up, in stark contrast to the warm and joyful atmosphere of the castle. They carried a cold, killing intent as they waited. Inside, a guard hurriedly ran in to reporting to the Archbishop that the situation is extremely critical. The Archbishop calmly asked, "Is there a problem?" The guard hesitantly replied, "The thing is." He loudly said, "Right now, a fierce army of beasts is frantically attacking the city's north gate." Conrad was surprised, no longer as calm as he was initially. At the city's north gate, a fierce battle was taking place. The beasts seemed to be provoked by something, charging wildly. Everyone panicked and talked among themselves. A beast raid? Why is this happening right now? Wu Jin seemed to have known beforehand. He silently thought. He remembered Bo's words. Even if this is a pre-planned ambush, they won't be able to counter it after all the elite guards have been deployed to protect the grand feast. He continued. Then there's only one possibility left. They're planning to use those beasts to create chaos in another part of the city. Bo shared his guess. They're trying to force our forces to scatter for rescue. Then they'll take the opportunity to strike straight into the banquet hall, where the Archbishop is stationed. Conrad hurriedly ordered to mobilize all available troops to stop them, even if it means withdrawing some guards from here, absolutely no letting them take another step. While discussing, Wu Jin said, "Stopping the enemy from pouring in is the most crucial task right now," to which he replied, "Indeed. But this is the Archbishop's private party. I don't have the authority to mobilize troops in this area." Wu Jin worriedly asked, "So what do we do now?" Cindy took a sip of tea and said, "Leave that to me," she softly said, "before the knights are overwhelmed by the enemy's overwhelming numbers." The castle already showed signs of being bombarded. Bombs appeared. They glowed on the stone floor. Cindy revealed her plan. "We'll proactively blow up this banquet hall first." Boom, a corner of the castle exploded, debris scattered everywhere. People inside panicked and asked each other, "What just happened?" The ceiling above just collapsed. They fearfully asked, "Have they infiltrated all the way here?" Immediately, there was a command. All knights quickly form a protective barrier around the nobles. The knight team responded, "Understood." Outside, After the explosion, Selkie used a cloth to cover his nose in discomfort. Wu Jin thought, it's a success. The knights are still bravely holding their ground. Now it's our turn to act. Dark figures hurriedly flew over the rooftops of Pioneer City, number 3. They were all heading towards the burning castle. Vikram said in confusion, an explosion? This situation was entirely unexpected for us. Selkie speculated, could it be that they sniffed out that we would come? In the dark night, Wu Jin placed his hand on the sword hilt. He took off the cloak on his shoulders, swung the sword, and with a flaming spirit, walked down the corridor. He thought excitedly, it's time to hunt down and send these little rats to hell. The whole group quietly watched the distant castle burning fiercely. Selkie quietly reviewed the situation, realizing they had known she would come. Could there be a traitor among us? Vikram refused to discuss it. He turned away abruptly. Anyways, this operation ends here. Let's retreat for now, then decide the next step. The blonde guy next to him was extremely frustrated. He hated that the excitement ended like this. What a hassle. It's so annoying. As soon as he finished speaking, sharp projectiles flew straight at him. He quickly raised the iron chain in his hand to block the projectiles. At the same time, a man jumped from below onto the rooftop with a weapon in hand. He landed a short distance from the blonde guy. Standing firm on the roof, he faced the 3 people and spoke. There's a saying, you know. It turned out to be none other than Wu Jin. He smirked provocatively. Getting in was easy, but getting out is a different story. Selkie's memory was sharp. She recognized him immediately. Isn't that the guy we fought when dealing with the golden bug's offspring? Don't tell me. She quickly found the clue. It's you, isn't it? Our plan was leaked because of you, wasn't it? Before Selkie could get an answer, a noise behind her made her and Vikram turn around warily. Sure enough, Bao suddenly appeared and attacked Vikram. Luckily, he managed to defend against it. Bao casually greeted like meeting an old friend. Long time no see, Vikram. Vikram was stunned in surprise. You. Bo walked over to stand next to Wu Jin, Master Bo. In the dark, both sides were in a tense standoff. Wu Jin heard the conversation and curiously asked the person behind him. You know that guy? Bo reluctantly admitted, yes, our relationship is complicated and not good. He explained, he was once a monk from the region of Bratra. Then added, and he was once my disciple too. Vikram held onto his mask and mocked. A disciple, huh? You're still clinging to those broken memories? He reached for his cloak. Back in the day, the cloak was decisively pulled down, revealing Vikram's half-naked upper body, and even now. Finally, he raised 2 fingers and used his technique, not forgetting to mock. You always know how to drive people crazy. Wu Jin quickly recognized his opponent's technique. Isn't that the mind's eye that Master Bao used? I didn't notice it earlier, but now I clearly sense the mana from the mind's eye. He vaguely guessed, is this thanks to the inner elixir of that priest? Before Wu Jin could act, he saw Bao signal with his hand. Jin. Bao used his power, preparing for the fight. I'll leave the other 2 to you. Then he and Vikram both launched their attacks, both with tremendous momentum heading towards each other. The distance narrowed. Vikram leaped up, putting all his strength into his punch. Bao used a matching punch to block it. The 2 punches collided, spreading power around. At the same time, the blonde guy and Selkie eagerly joined the fight. Yeah, that's the feeling I've been waiting for. Let's see what you're capable of. A few seconds later, Selkie's eyes turned a sharp golden color. Her feet under the cloak transformed into beast-like legs. Soon, her entire body revealed as a beast. Wu Jin wasn't surprised at this sight. He calmly noted, a transformation skill with monster strength, able to wield the star chain lightly like a small stone. If I faced her unprepared, I'd be in big trouble. Then he smirked. But their tricks have all been seen through thanks to Enoch's memory. Not far from the battle, on the ground in the alleyways behind houses, a man was hiding. The only issue now is... Jeff quietly looked ahead. That heretical inquisitor. On the rooftop, the blonde's iron mace and the agile figure of the monster charged at Wu Jin. He swung his sword directly to block, constantly thinking about this formation, knowing he couldn't use the skills inherited from the inner core in this battle. The power of the sword and the iron mace clashed, creating sparks. Wu Jin quickly sensed something wrong, feeling like he was weakening. After that brief exchange, the blonde became even more crazed with excitement, using his sword to deflect the relentless chain whip. He paused for a moment, then continued, but, at the same time, the monster Selkie transformed into was about to crash into the blonde's iron mace. She lunged towards Wu Jin, claws extended for a swipe. Even knowing the attack was coming, he couldn't dodge it. Wu Jin glanced at the wound caused by the claws in the middle of his waist. The situation seemed tense. A few seconds later, he chuckled softly. From that moment, his gaze changed. The murderous intent in his eyes increased, as if reliving the nightmare from 12 years ago with the pressure of training and limited power, which only served to excite him more. He relished the moment. It had been a long time since he'd felt the thrill of a real battle. The fight on the other side seemed just as intense, with the roof tiles breaking under the external forces. Bao and Vikram were still locked in a duel. Vikram punched low, but his attack was quickly parried by his opponent, landing only in thin air. Bo leisurely commented like a referee, observing how forced your movements are. Nothing has changed at all. Your stubborn nature always seeking something new, rather than following what you're taught. Vikram wasn't discouraged and continued his attack, thinking, this old man's so outdated. He lifted his arm and ruthlessly elbowed down. That's not being stubborn. Unexpectedly, Bao couldn't dodge and took the full impact. That's his personal style, old man. Bao's body was thrown back several meters by the force of the impact. Yet he quickly stabilized on the ground. He couldn't help but admit, a personal style. Yes, I once wanted to support the path you chose. Bao continued. A new path is always difficult and challenging, but sometimes they create miracles. Vikram stood still, listening, yet Bo bluntly pointed out his flaw. Your impatience and insatiable greed tainted what you call your personal style. The words cut sharply like a reprimand. The dirty tricks built on lies will sooner or later crumble. At this point, it seemed the battle would press on, with the marks suddenly glowing. Bo kindly reminded, engrave these words into your heart. Familiar symbols continuously appeared in the air. Bao had truly used the technique and fought seriously, because this will be the last lesson I teach you. Mind's eye, eyes that see through everything. Vikram, on the other hand, felt no fear. This is a skill only the one who has reached the highest level of using mind's eye can deploy. He mused to himself, so that's it. No wonder the old man acts as if he's seen through everything. Vikram touched the mask on his face. Old man, while I wasn't paying attention, you've grown stronger. He felt confident in his strength. But you know what? It's because of that mindset that you can't win. Vikram also began to use his technique. As marks glowed, completely opposing what you believe in this world. This time, it was Bao who needed to be surprised. Vikram's symbols appeared around him, looking just like Bo's technique. A perfect lie can also become a truth. Mind's eye, eyes that see through everything. He arrogantly lifted his head to look at his opponent. Bao was stunned by this unexpected situation. You? How can you perform that technique? Their techniques shone under the moonlight, looking almost 80% alike. Vikram ignored Bo's question and taunted him instead, asking why Bo was so surprised, and if he really thought he was the only one worthy of such power. Bo was truly angry and couldn't hold back his shout, calling Vikram crazy for saying such things. His mind raced with thoughts, seeing through everything with a vision skill, a technique that wasn't simply about absorbing the enemy's mana. From his perspective, Bo could see the forces flowing through Vikram's body, even down to the blood and smallest muscles, allowing him to predict Vikram's moves. This was the ultimate skill of the land of Bretra. He saw the proud smile behind Vikram's stiff mask, but having such immense power had a harsh price to pay. Blood trickled from Bo's nose, and he gently touched it. He thought to himself that it was a forbidden spell that mercilessly consumed the user's life. Despite it all, Bo felt a sense of nostalgia over their old mentor-student connection, knowing this fight wouldn't end until one of them fell. Then he provocatively asked Vikram if he would really last until the end. Vikram strongly denied this scenario, saying the only one who needed to die was Bo to end it all. Then Vikram raised his hands, looking at Bo. When Vikram's hands aligned, a powerful force exploded, marking the limit of Bo's aging, questioning how long Bo could maintain this forbidden art. The force formed into Vikram's clones. Vikram's illusions all charged into battle together. Bao also summoned his own power, accepting there was nothing left to negotiate. His techniques mirrored Vikram's, as his forces also turned into clones, multiplying and joining the fight. The two main bodies still faced each other in the dark. Bao and Vikram silently directed their clones to attack. Vikram's clone punched through Bo's clone. Bao's clone retaliated by smashing Vikram's illusion. Their clone combat was real, and both main bodies felt the damage. Vikram soon coughed up blood. Bo wasn't much better, spitting out a large amount of blood too. Vikram mocked Bo, suggesting his body was under incredible stress. Bao said nothing but silently agreed, realizing he couldn't keep up like he used to. He had to admit the truth, but acknowledged Vikram had improved since they last met. Bo and Vikram clashed directly, their arms crashing together. But Bo reminded Vikram he picked the wrong opponent, knowing Vikram's growth since he was a child. Bo dodged and aimed low, thinking no one could understand Vikram like him, even if he couldn't maintain the spell much longer. He regretted what Vikram had become, deciding to end this misguided path here. Bao increased his combat power decisively. Just then, Vikram's mark suddenly glowed. He quickly became alert to his surroundings. He was surrounded by Bo's clones in a checkmate position. Vikram fiercely resisted, knowing that no matter how he struggled, any attack direction would be met accurately. He ruthlessly punched through his opponent, deciding to take the path of least damage, but he didn't expect a sudden attack from behind. Vikram was struck and sent flying, his tough mask showing cracks. He quickly got back up. He stomped hard on the ground, but his body froze for a few seconds. Vikram stood frozen in place, confused. What just happened? Suddenly, all my senses lost their feeling. He kept trying to figure out the reasons he found. Could it be the attack from before? No, that force wasn't enough to be lethal. I can't believe this. Vikram looked down, contemplating his own actions. Was it really in just one precise move that he lost this entire match? He angrily faced the attack of Bo's phantoms, cursing under his breath. At this moment, all he could manage was to swear, damn it. Vikram's body was pierced by Bo's power. His mask had shattered, revealing a face twisted in pain and lifeless white eyes. Vikram fell backward. His stiff body slammed onto the rooftop. At this moment, he could feel it. His heart had shattered. Vikram turned his head toward the approaching footsteps. Bao's faint face appeared in the night, watching him. Then Bo quietly sat down right next to him. Vikram couldn't understand Bo's actions. What is he doing? Bo remained silent for a moment, and then muttered softly, "Idiot." He spoke gently, like a father chiding his child. "Even if you stand on the opposite side, you're still my disciple. Are you leaving without saying goodbye?" Vikram listened in silence, unable to say anything back. He cried out in pain. Then he casually reminisced. The weather that day was unbearably cold. He remembered being a child, dependent on others after being heartlessly abandoned by his parents. Through the closing door, he saw the silhouette of a woman turning away, leaving without looking back at her child, even once. So young Vikram grabbed onto Bo's cloak with all his might. From then on, he had no choice but to work tirelessly for a nod of approval from his teacher. The small boy could think through everything, fearing that if he became useless, he'd be abandoned again. However, Bao always looked forward without turning back, never stopping to notice him. Vikram reached out pathetically, as if begging, "Couldn't you offer some comfort to that poor child?" He weakly hit Bo's strong arm, asking for praise, acknowledging that his efforts were enough. Bo stayed silent for a few seconds before calmly saying, "I know it all." He looked up at the moon, reminiscing about old memories. "I know you wake up before dawn to train, striving for more strength. I know you never wavered, even against stronger foes." He turned back slightly and said, however, Vikram remained silent, waiting for Bo to speak. Bao addressed Vikram's long-seated questions. "You mistakenly thought only those with power could define value, so I stayed silent." Now, Bao didn't hesitate to give the praise he had held back. "My foolish student, without a doubt, You're my pride and the disciple I cherish the most. The moon shone brightly that night, mingling with the darkness, highlighting the teacher and student. The castle bore significant damage from the fierce battle. Selkie and the blonde were alert and surprised by what they saw next. What is that? They saw one of Wu Jin's arms ablaze, wondering if it was transformation magic from Enoch. The blonde warrior unexpectedly swung his iron mace. Wu Jin nimbly dodged and got ready to swing his sword. He gathered energy into his sword. Then he slashed fiercely at Selkie's incoming claw attack. This move startled Jeff, who was watching from the sidelines, thinking about the two-circle magic and wondering what magic star this was. He adjusted his glasses, pondering if he had misunderstood Wu Jin as a dark bishop all this time. Wu Jin seemed to read his thoughts and smiled, thinking he had made that heretic judge doubt himself. With a slight gesture, he summoned a fireball, knowing this fire magic came from a beast core, but humans could use it too. Wu Jin held the fireball in one hand and raised his sword in the other, thinking about how to best use this move against them. The blonde warrior opposite him suddenly frowned. He smirked with disdain, mocking Wu Jin's cocky expression. Then he continued to manipulate his iron mace while taunting, saying, Wu Jin mustn't think he could pull off a trick like that. As the mace swung again, Selkie charged in, possibly changing the outcome. Wu Jin let the fire surround the iron mace. Then he used its power to push the enemy's weapon back. He was quite pleased with the situation, thinking how clever this simple trick was. He seized the chance to slash at Selkie again, knowing the skill relied on the user. Wu Jin seriously gripped his sword with both hands. Once more, he slashed at Selkie's neck. This completely surprised her. His reflex speed had changed. Wu Jin was still fiercely fighting. A heavy mace and sharp claws meant danger if they hit. The blonde warrior used the same old move again, but Wu Jin responded as before, using fire against the mace, waiting for a single mistake. As he sent the massive mace flying, Selkie had already approached from the side, ready for a counterattack. She kept accelerating, realizing he was keeping up, needing to speed up more. The blonde warrior noticed the favorable situation and felt smug. Thinking he had it, the iron mace swung again, flying through the air, just short of Wu Jin. Selkie seized the chance to attack. At first glance, Wu Jin seemed at a disadvantage, but he didn't care and even smiled, ready to finish them off. At the moment the sword swung, the tough iron mace and Selkie's body were unexpectedly slashed. Selkie's cry of pain was caught in her throat, unable to come out. The blonde warrior called out worriedly, Selkie? Wu Jin was extremely satisfied with the outcome, betting on their arrogance, thinking they were safe just carrying that mace. He approached the blonde from behind, thinking how foolish they were. Taking advantage of his opponent's surprise, he took the initiative to attack, knowing Steel feared high heat. The blonde warrior finally realized the panic, thinking this. He frantically searched for his comrades, calling, Vikram. Then he moved his eyes back to the motionless body in front, worrying about Selkie as well. Sweat continuously poured down his face, showing his panic, thinking both of them were done. He kept backing away in fear. As his body backed up to the edge of the rooftop, fear gripped him hard. The blonde guy frantically jumped off to make a run for it, thinking he needed to escape fast to save his life. His bulky frame quickly hit the ground. But unexpectedly, there were so many people passing by below, and someone just fell from the sky. Isn't that the guy who's been fighting all this time? He yelled out in frustration and panic. His hands kept swinging the iron chain connected to the mace, shouting for people to get out of the way or he'd smash them. He went wild, destroying everything around him, thinking he had to get out of there. People nearby were scared and dodged him, carefully avoiding his rampage. The iron chain and mace continued to wreck all the nearby structures. The blonde seemed to have lost control, unaware of when to stop. People could only scream and dodge, urging each other to run fast. Seeing this, Wu Jin got really mad and jumped down, cursing the guy. He frowned and paused for a few seconds. It turned out that below, the blonde was about to finish off an innocent person. What's important is that the man was carrying a child on his back. If nothing unexpected happened, both would lose their lives here. The child clung to the man's back, frightened and crying heavily. Wu Jin charged in decisively, knowing if he didn't give it his all, those people would die. At the same time, Jeff rushed in from the other side, but seeing Jeff trying to come over as fast as he could, Wu Jin hesitated a little, worried his identity might be exposed. Nevertheless, he jumped down. The pupils in Wu Jin's eyes visibly changed. Why was he hesitating? He had already decided to live like a human. Then, a force came in time to block the blonde's attack. The man and the child on his back looked back in fear. Jeff was equally surprised. The blonde froze, realizing suddenly, wait, this power is… Wu Jin unleashed unexpected strength, stopping him. He focused and spoke to the opponent. The blonde, now afraid, even resorted to speaking respectfully, saying yes. But Wu Jin just coldly replied, "Not you," before dealing with him. The blonde was in pain, tightly bound by Wu Jin's mysterious power. His body was quickly incinerated. Wu Jin moved directly towards Jeff, calling out, "Hey, you heretical judge." He rested his sword on his shoulder, curiously asking, "What's your verdict? Am I human or a monster?" Jeff couldn't respond right away, still trembling under the pressure in front of him.